On a interesting afternoon here. Cue the afternoon rally again. 2 days in a row, we seem to be headed back to the north side. 2 days in a row, it seems to be tech that's leading this pretty decent rally underway right now. It is the NASDAQ, just 0.4 left to go before we get even break even on the session. We were down better part of 2% at one point early on this morning. 1.4 for the S&P currently, 1.77 for the Dow. It's been the Dow that's been relatively weak all day long. We also continue to see relative weakness in small caps as well in the Russell 2000. Here in Toronto, pretty ugly day there, 2% for the TSX. A lot of that's coming from another 5.6% move for crude oil. When I showed you that oil chart exactly 1 hour ago, it was 7%. So even oil with a big bounce off the lows there, now just 5.6%, 1.2 for Bitcoin. Meanwhile, 4.25 at the bottom there for Ethereum as we continue to watch not only yields coming off significantly, but the dollar coming off significantly late in the day here as well, all aiding, obviously, in a bounce for equities. Still pretty red here, 1.46 for the S&P 500. It's been the banks all day long, once again, that have led. FRC, what a week. 60%, 40%, 30%, now just 20% to the downside. Wild action back and forth every single day for FRC, WAL, PWAC. There's WFC as well. 4.5%. JP Morgan, JP Morgan's down 5% on the session. We'll talk about that coming up. The lone green one down here, Schwab, after the CEO comes out aftermarket yesterday and talked up their book a little bit better than the rest anyways for some of the banks. Industrials, the entire group is red, including huge moves for airlines today. 7.5% for UAL, Dow, and AAL. Tech, pretty red still, red across the board. There are a few here in positive territory. Microsoft, one of those, but really nothing to write home about at this point. Look at energy. Halliburton's down 10%, MRO down 10%. I'll show you crude here coming up again. Utilities having a pretty good day. Really the only group in positive territory. Hope your afternoon is going well. Welcome back in as we get going here. We'll jump right into what we were talking about early on this morning. Remember, there was another inflation data point that came out that was actually in the right direction for the first time, a significant way as well. Much better than expected PPI number comes through. The Fed coming on Wednesday next week. Should be interesting with whatever Fed Chair Powell decides to do now that we have this banking mess and still 6% inflation. Remember, back when we got CPI, it was 6%. Anyway, Sean is here. He's going to lead us off this afternoon with a look at one of his trades.
Hey traders, happy to bring you today's trade of the day, and it's brought to you by Day Trade the World. Make sure you hit that QR code below and start your journey today with Day Trade the World, the #1 prop trading firm in the world. Okay, look, this is going to be pretty simple. I don't know if I go off the screen here or not, but here's Apple. I just blew it up. Just recently right here, we've been getting in and out. It wasn't really that great because we broke through 152. What I wanted to indicate here was just this bottom here being 150. We put it on the sticky note today that we'd look for a bottom of 150 and possibly the break down below through 150. But look what happens. It hits 150, absolutely no follow through, and then straight back up to the upside. So the purpose of today's trade of the day is to show you, first of all, that we were going short in the morning because we did feel like we were going to drift down to 150 there. And that was, again, on a PMI number, on just weakness in the NASDAQ. When we came in today, the NASDAQ was down 1.5%. So naturally, we did want to start to short here in Apple on the day. So we just shorted it against this 152 area, which is topside right there. And we were able to get a couple shorts in and then all out. Like, we have way too many outs in here, which kind of is disappointing because it just kept going to VWAP. It kept going to the 50 period. And look at all these bounces. Like, all these ticks right here are actually the bottom of that time. And if you go down, it's only 930, 940. But we've already made way too many trades in here on Apple. So we're just getting out. And it's my #1 stock today. And we're able to hold for a little bit of a break back down below the 200. But we do not have any outs. We don't hold all the way to get down into here. And then it gets a little bit messy because at that point, we're like confused a little bit. We get all the way down to 150. The market really starts to rally up. And I say to myself, hey, if we break the high rate here, then we want to be able to get into shares because the market will take this through 152 and then back up to the upside. However, if you look, 12 o'clock, the market stops. It rallies like a great rally from 150, 150.60 all the way to 152. It's actually the biggest move of the day in one straight direction. Upside, we punch long, let it drop down. We managed to get, that's 150.50. So we managed to get some 50s, and then it just elevates right back up to the upside. So we go short and win, then we go long and win, and then we get out once it breaks. So it breaks 150 to the downside, and then we get carried away again and go back to the short. So it's 1 for 1, 2 for 2. This one's probably a small win. Maybe not even at all, because we take that and back it, but that makes sense. We're probably winning there. And then the short comes in, then we take it out again on some of these lows. Don't respect that bottom, which is a good thing because it doesn't fall too much further. Then we're holding, comes back in, and we take that out one more time. And then just now recently, we go short ahead of 150. It breaks, out, short again, a little bit out, short there, outs again back to 150.50. And then our last try, out on a breakthrough 152. So we do give back some money here in Apple, but the main idea behind the trade today was short early because we had a negative NASDAQ print. So that brings it all the way to the downside. And then there, key level of 150. Look, I think Arun talked about this on the main show too. And that is that regardless of, or maybe it was a viewer, regardless of where the futures are going and what your stock is doing, there's going to be key levels there that you're supposed to trade around. And that 150, whether or not I punch short there or wait for it and take the long, probably should have been actionable down there. But there it is, 150. On a reject of 150, you can then take it to the long side. So a little bit of a missed opportunity, but we stayed in our lane and we wanted the short early. We took it and we made a little bit of bank there on Apple.
Overall, for big tech in general, all of which were on that this morning. We'll get into a few others as we go through it at the afternoon. If you haven't done so, grab that every morning for free from us. Has everything you need to know in the pre-market, all in one neat package. Here is crypto currently extending the slide. We saw a start this morning. We went from above actually 1,700 here on Ethereum all the way down to 1,620 right now for ETH. Bitcoin not as bad, but still floating around some significant levels here from the past week or so. On the support side of things, remember we tested above 25,000 early on this morning, right back to 24,000 for BTC. Dollar strength coming into play. This is a daily chart, so DXY back to the upside here in afternoon trade. Also wanted to show you these. Here are some wild, just absolutely crazy action in both the 2-year back to the downside in a big way today, 3.87, and the 10-year, 3.45. We were above 4% just last week on the 10-year. It's now 3.45, has given this entire move back, all on this banking mess, whatever you want to call it, that has been created by, I know it's super exciting, but that's the yield curve, if anyone was wondering. Still inverted, but not as badly as it once was, going back to the end of last year. Let's talk about some of those banks. In fact, we mentioned the banks as a group this morning in the sense that not only was it the regional banks again, the FRCs of the world, but also the bigger names getting hit this morning as well in the pre-market. JP Morgan, I just saw, still at this point down more than 4% on the day. BAC, Citigroup, all under significant pressure here this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, once you have an issue in one portion of the banking sector, everyone looks at the entire thing. But I was also reading an article where the inflows of some of these larger banks, like BAC, apparently saw ridiculous amounts of inflows after what's happening in SVIB and all the smaller banks. So essentially what's happening now is you're getting these bigger banks getting much, much bigger. So the JPMs, the Citigroups, the BACs, they're going to have more inflows, they're going to have more stability, and also they're getting to a point where the Fed would technically consider them too big to fail, right? So right now, because of what's happening around, it's obviously taking a hit, but I also feel like a lot of these banks are holding up well, specifically BAC. Yes, it's down 2% on the day, but look at it though. It refuses to escape this 28.5 area, which we've kind of based out around for the last couple days here. We got underneath, yes, into 27.5, but here we are right back into 28. BAC is still holding up well, refuses to kind of get away from this. Now, if this broke back down towards its lows from this pre-market, I think there might be situation where, you know what, BAC trend down, technically speaking, the trend's still intact, and it is starting to walk away from this. But that's what I'm seeing across a lot of the bigger banks, is that even if they were having issues, it wasn't from this morning. They fell off, Citigroup fell off overnight, but still refuses to get away from this low. Yeah, we were underneath the low now, but given what this market's done from essentially from that the 39.05, 39.10 all the way down to 38.70, all that back and forth action, what does BAC do? Or not BAC, Citigroup do? Takes a sweet time, now it's starting to get 20 cents under the low. So although the initial weakness is there, I think a lot of these banks, the bigger banks specifically, are holding up very well to what's been going around, and I think at some point they will stabilize a little bit more, and there should be a buying opportunity there on some of the bigger names.
Yeah, I should have done the trade of the day with WFC. I completely forgot about that. We wanted WFC through 39 today to the short, and that's exactly what we got. And we got it pretty early, and we got out near the bottoms right there. We didn't short it again. We talked about that when that came through, so I didn't have too much faith in the banks holding some of these bottoms, but still down 5%. I'm actually amazed at what BAC has still been able to hold up. So that's a good call on that bank, because JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs both down that 5%. The reason why we picked on WFC a little bit today, and again, I didn't even look really at any of the other banks other than this, was that we were opening the day below this number right there, 38.50, which was the low there, the close on Monday when we sort of had all that distress. So the minute that we were down there, and then we heard about FRC and the rest getting hit this morning back down to the downside, it became kind of an easier play to make sure that we took that one. So there it is, WFC to the short side, a good one. And then just so you guys can see, JP Morgan, straight downside pretty much all morning, so we'll have to, or all day. We'll see if that can hold. And then again, Goldman Sachs also down that 5%. So many of these names down 5+%, and we're a lot lower at one point. Goldman Sachs hit 304.50 right there before retracing all the way back now to 308. So yep, you know, these names still continue to be weak today. When you have Amazon up, Microsoft, Netflix might be up, might not be up, but all these other names here are going to the upside on a pretty weak NASDAQ. Obviously, the NASDAQ doesn't have any banking names in it right now, as the Dow at its low was down almost 550 points. I don't know what it's down right now, but the S&P down 1.5%, so it's getting to that number. But anyways, banks really bad today, and I think it continues. FRC, 31. Okay, we waited for 40. We'll see here today. View up right now, FRC $34. Nice downside move here to the markets.
All right, we heard about Apple there to kick things off. We were talking big tech in general right across the board this morning, if you're with us in the pre-market, in the sense that with this latest development in the regional bank group, we've seen that indication of not only smaller rate hikes to come going forward from the Fed, but I mean, it was a 50-50 toss-up that we don't get anything at all come next Wednesday when we get that next rate decision. So the group that's going to benefit from that, not only slower hikes, but potentially no hikes at all, tech, guys. So nice day here. Once again, as I mentioned, late afternoon rally trying to be led by the NASDAQ here.
And we saw this all day too. Not Netflix, but the NASDAQ has been relatively strong compared to the S&P, right? And NASDAQ only down 0.5%, S&P down 1.5%, and the big difference there is tech versus finance or just broad spectrum of stocks. So tech holding up very well. You're seeing its strength across the board in a lot of the names. Some of them are negative, but I mean, I also care about what they've done since the open. So even if you come into the day because of the day being negative in Europe, and then you see what's done in the open, or since the open, Google's almost up 3% since the open. It's up 2% overall, but almost 3% since the open. The only name that I'm seeing on the board that's negative, especially in the top tech names, is Tesla. That's the only one that's down 2%. Everything else is positive. And like I said, Google up almost 3%. I'm looking at Microsoft. Microsoft's up 1%. Damn, Microsoft's moves. Wow. Okay, we were looking at this area as a potential, well,
even
not
Google.
this area.
Google's back to 96.
Yeah, so that one's up almost 3%.
Yep.
So this area was something to keep an eye on. Mind you, it wasn't, for me, it wasn't something on the radar, but it was an area to keep an eye on because what we've done here, not just in the last a day or so, but in the last few days, right? Around this 260 area. We stalled here going back to the 6th of March, and then you got the 9th, and then we got here yesterday in the afternoon, getting closer and closer to that 260. It got above, comes down with Europe. That gets me thinking, oh, what's going to happen here? And then what do? They rally right off the get-go and right back above 260. Now, it's pretty clear that this has been indicated to be a decent support level given how much of a resistance it was to get through. So Microsoft obviously going sideways after that initial rally. Market's also gone sideways, so that's a good thing. Let's see what happens when it comes back in. I would expect the market to be near the bottom, catching a bid. And if Microsoft's in the same spot, in that little support area, and it also catches a bid, I think there's a clear long to be taken here. Not that there won't be a sell-off, but I'm just saying in terms of risk reward, the best opportunity is going to come near that 260 here. I'm going to say somewhere between 261 going on down for Microsoft. A very strong name, not just the only one on the table there, Sean.
No, there's been tons of strength. And if we're going to talk about the possibility of that Fed rate hike, we just took that 50-50, 0 to 25. So I just look here, and I just look at the NASDAQ just as a whole, kind of like you were doing there with the ES a little bit in NASDAQ. It's just like, does this look like it's afraid of anything, right? Uh-oh. Are we blacked out? Okay, well, I'll just keep talking. There we go. Thank you very much. We'll get that figured out right there. But I was just looking at this screen here, the NASDAQ being in the middle right now. And I don't know if you have this. We'll get it figured out on there and when they're ready. But I was just going to say, the NASDAQ being at this 12,200 right now is kind of just in the middle. So we're I feel like some days up, like right now, 0.62. Like we're down 0.62 today. We've had some nice rallies. We've had some nice moves. And I just think that as people, position up or down for this eventual rate decision in 7 days on the 22nd, there we go. So this is what we're trying to do right here, is just show you that rate in here for the NASDAQ. We made some nice moves, made some bottoms. There's the CPI number there on that was March 2nd, not CPI, Fed Powell talking. Huge move back up to the upside there. And then now over the last couple of days, last week was Fed week, right? When he was being ushered in front of Congress and all that, the Senate, huge move up, comes all the way back down and hits those levels again down there. Shout out to Dan, which talked about 11.1830 there, and that's basically where we stopped. And then a nice move right back up to the upside. And then of course, we don't go to the ultimate high, and we didn't go to the we did go to the ultimate bottom, but we didn't close there. And so right now, I just feel like you're just kind of zoned out a little bit here on the NASDAQ. I mean, certain names, Google's still under 100, Microsoft, although has had some chat news and chat GPT. Apple, I just got back into the short right now. You want to talk about tech names being red on the day? This is really the only one. I mean, if Apple was green, the NASDAQ still wouldn't be green, but would be pretty close enough to that. So you're going to wait to see here on Apple. I want to give it back to this 152, probably 151.80 right now on the short, but we're going to re-short Apple here. I don't know, man. Big tech leads, yeah. Big tech is leading today. NASDAQ's still red, but against the S&P, man, the S&P's down 1.62%. So, of course, that has a lot of bank exposure. We talked about JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs both being down quite a lot. I'm long AMD, by the way, which is working. Maybe we'll talk about that soon.
All right, Tesla ends up being a bit of a non-event today. We mentioned that note simply that they became the EU's top EV seller in Q4 of last year. Obviously a positive for them, surpassing Mercedes. It was the Model Y that did a lot of that heavy lifting. Here's Tesla down 3.2%. Decent level actually right here, trying to bounce off that initial low from early on today. But I mean, 3.2%, if you zoom out a little bit, doesn't seem like a lot after the past couple of days. We've just been kind of gap down and then sideways all day for Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla's been, I mean, with all the potential and all these other names, you have Tesla doing this, which is a whole lot of nothing, right? We were trying to stick around with this 180. We saw this yesterday. They were sticky with that 180, went up a little bit, came down right back to that 180, and now they're working their way down. But they're trickling down and they're coming into some support area. I'm not sure exactly where I would call this broken. Possibly this right here, 174. So there's a window here where, even though it's down 3%, they could easily catch a bid here. And that's what I worry about, is if we're so stuck to that 180 and we're in a spot where we can catch a bid, why can't we just catch a random bid in the final 10 minutes of some day before we get to the point where the options expire on this and we go right back to 180. So it's not exactly the best candidate for trading today. I'm sure people are going to make the argument for intraday trades on it. It depends on how you look at it, right? If you're looking for scalps, I'm sure 82 going down to 80 was an easy trade. But again, for me, I'm looking in terms of how can I position, and I'm not sure. I don't think I can position on something like this until I get a bit more clarity on where the support is going to come from. I know it's somewhere in here. We're trying to work with it, but I just don't know exactly where, and that means I can't figure out the risk on this. I suspect that 174 could be where we kind of break this whole support area, but let's just find out. We're going to have to wait on this one for sure. It's just because it's not available today as a trade doesn't mean it's not going to be available tomorrow. So we'll definitely come back to it tomorrow and see if we can make a trade. Maybe it's a little bit lower with a better setup.
All right, Tesla, yeah, I mean, you just sort of went over that. I don't really have any Tesla trades. I think you still want to wait for that 200 level to come through. Here goes Apple right now, starting to rip back up to the upside as this market is really starting to go now, man. I mean, we are now on. The NASDAQ is going to turn green. We have a great trade on AMD right now that's at over $1 in the money off that little spot right there, but we are starting to rip northbound right now. So this is so far so good, man, as we go here. Tesla looking like it wants to go now even more. I mean, you've just sort of talked about it being red here on the day. So it's Apple and Tesla, the only two big ones. I mean, there's probably other ones that continue to be red. Alibaba's down 4% as well. But yeah, Tesla trying to get going. I don't know if I like the long. I mean, this market's so strong. There's many better names out there. Just got to find them.
All right, Arun found Boeing early on this morning. We were talking about BA down 5.5. Wow. On this note this morning, delivery numbers come through in February or for February that were down from the prior month, so 28 versus 38, so 10 fewer February from January, which equates to, is actually more than that, obviously at the lows there, 192. Arun, talk us through your Boeing thoughts here.
My best trade for the day. I actually, that position board should be updated because I just got out of Boeing, so there might be a delay on that, but it is, I mean, let me show you the chart for the chart that I have on Boeing. This was pretty much my trade. That's your short here. First target out at support, and then we just trailed it through, and we just broke trail when we cracked through that 196. So by the time all said and done, that was about $3. That was about 5.5. At one point, it was up like $8 or so. But again, if you in a situation where, for me, once you've got past your targets, you just trail it, right? And sometimes you got to give some of that back, and that's what you're seeing here in Boeing as it recovers a little bit. And the trade for me on Boeing was pretty much this. Where is it? Let's pull these. That was the old support level. It was that 202. We were coming back in through that 202 this morning. It looked negative. That was also an area where we were rotating around. We were hesitating up here near the top on the 10th. Then the afternoon, we caught a bid around the 10. On the afternoon, we caught a bid around the 02 yesterday. 2 days ago, and then we weren't even close by it yesterday. And then we finally got back into that 02 mark, and I'm like, okay, if we can get underneath and stay underneath, there's a potential for a trade here. Took the trade, ended up paying 01.47 for it. Worked out well, right? Sometimes the trading is easy. If it only were like this every single time, you take a trade. It starts breaking through all of your potential targets and continues on down, and then you get out when it turns. You're like, oh, how easy was that? If you can do that every single damn time, that'd be great. But no, we are going to have to keep an eye on Boeing, though. Although this trade is done, this area, now we got to keep an eye on this area, the initial target of mine, which was the 197.5 to 198 area. If we get back into that, I suspect there's going to be some selling or at least some resistance that we got to keep an eye on. If it does come back in and starts to give you another sell indicator, then back on the short, same play as before. Now we're just doing it at a different price. Work that fade as long as you have a reason to do it. Obviously, with the market as strong as it is right now, you're not going to do that. But just keep an eye on Boeing. There's bound to be another trade here in this market.
Man, I'm sitting here watching these stocks, and there it is, man.
Awesome.
NASDAQ green right now, as we were just talking. Well, was just green. It's going to go green, and well, if not, it just was anyways. But there it is. What a move back right now for a lot of these names. You want to check a name that was flying earlier? Yeah, 195 right now. Meta right back to that level. So man, just continues to go to the upside here. So just great trade for a long. You got to watch out for them. Excuse me, knew I was going to sneeze there. Anyways, let's go back to Brendan. We'll talk about crypto, coins, and then we'll be back and trading this. Roblox down 4% as well. That's another name that's to the downside. FRC now down 20. Again, I'm going to sneeze again. I'm going to mute my mic. What's up, guys?
There we go. I was showing you this chart when we came on there at 2 o'clock, trying to bounce as well, not only for equities, but here's Ethereum, guys, bit of an uptick once again right now. Same story for Bitcoin, bit of an uptick, trying to get back above 24,000. Actually, it is above 24,000, but trying to hold above 24,000. Yeah, coin was more just a, what do we do with crypto today? Because when we sat down this morning, we were expecting this inflation data to come in that did end up moving crypto markets, but it was a bit of a quiet trade overall. There were some minor headlines out of Singapore with some new fee structures that they announced, but nothing specific for coin, but typically the one we look to for crypto moves.
Yeah, well, I mean, coin decided that it wants to take a break today, do what the market's been doing, at least S&P is, which is go sideways. So here we are, coin stuck between 67 and 60. And both of them good locations for range tops and range bottoms, right? So north of 65, there seems to be some resistance going all the way up to 66 or 67. So you have an option to potentially fade this if it ever got there and gave you a reason to do it. And then the flip side of that is 60 has been a problem in the pre-market and also yesterday's pre-market as well. So 60 is clearly there as a support base. Everything in the middle, I would like to avoid it. When I know something looks like it, when I feel like something like this looks like it's in a range, then I'm going to want to range trade this until it forces me to not trade this in a range anymore, right? We break the range, then we go for the expansion through the top. So let's see if we can actually get through that 67 on coin. That would be the easier trade, which is the range breaks. Those are obviously going to be the easier trades because you can see them more clear. Trading inside of ranges, they make a ton of money, but you just got to be on top of it if you are going to do this. And there goes the market to the upside as it cracks through the 20s to the upside, and now we're at almost 30
what is going
as the stops go off north of 20 on the futures here, and here we are trading. Oh, we're back down from the 27, 28. I mean, to be fair, when the market's this quiet and all of a sudden you go after range highs and range lows, stops are bound to go off, and I think that's what you're seeing here north of 20 as the stops really get taken out and we accelerate to the upside. So I suspect that a lot of the big names that have been strong are much, much more accelerated to the upside. Amazon up 3.5%, Google up 3.5%. Oh no, from the open. So Tesla still down, actually down now 1% from the open. But overall, the markets are getting back to flat. NASDAQ is now positive by 0.16. S&P still down 0.85.
Yeah, oh baby is right. Right now, we're $2 in the money on this AMD trade right now as it continues to go to the upside. Apparently, Switzerland having some talks right now to stabilize their credit. Well, I guess that's into the banking. So there it is right there. Nice move up for Credit Suisse. Again, you know, we were short this name early, and then, whoops, wrong thing there. We were short early and then got taken out of this. You know what? I might just get rid of this 3-minute. I got to figure out these charts to make them seem a little bit better for you guys so we could just see a little bit more. But right there, Credit Suisse right now back into some of these highs as their talk here of stabilization of the credit facilities in Switzerland. Likely to make a statement soon on what they're doing. So, okay, so that's probably something similar. The reason why we have this highlighted, that's sort of the top. We did blow it out there at 25, but that's 15. So that's a little level there for Credit Suisse. This may be part of the reason for this current spike right now in the market. Let's just check out FRC. Again, First Republic also on a nice little bounce back up to the upside. WAL, I know, is another name that there's a lot of traders interested in looking at as well, as that gets all the way back as well. 2 days high before now, falling right back in. Let's just address this AMD trade, man. We have this trade on. We've only been long here on AMD today. We just bought it back into VWAP, into the 50 period here as you continue to climb. So if we look at a 20-minute chart, we're well above all of these areas. This is where we're long. well, we're long down here, 87.20, but there's the break of that 88.36 level, and now you're up $1 straight from there. So that's part of where we're getting out here at 88, but there's the move. Wow, huge move up for AMD, $2 right now in the money for that one. It's hard to punch along when you're at these levels. Let's be perfectly honest right now in what we're seeing. So I need something that maybe hasn't gone up as much right now that could fall back in. If we are going to talk about AMD and where to get out of some of these trades, and maybe a break of 89 again, just trying to play some key levels. I just feel like the market's really rallying right now, and if this does come out at 89, that's $1.50, and we should be pretty happy with it. It's not going to be the top, but I'm going to get out if this comes through 89. I mean, on a 1 minute chart again there, we have the VWAP. This doesn't make sense. Would VWAP still be all the way down there? I'm going to have to figure out that calculation right there because we're well off right now up to the upside here. So huge move for AMD, and really DraftKings maybe I just see coming up on a scanner right now, trying to break through some levels possibly here for DKNG as well. That's down 2% on the day. So yeah, right there breaking through set. Yeah, okay, so it's just a high of the day break right here. Scanner just happened right there, breaking through the high of the day on DraftKings. So this is one that maybe is starting to go now as well. But wow, this NASDAQ really going. I think there's a lot of opportunity here.
Definitely, opportunity is there. It's just where do you get in? Like if you haven't gotten in already, where do you price an entry now on some of these names, right? Like I got out of BA, great, that's a great exit, but now I need to move on to my next trade and I don't see any more entries. At this point, we were kind of working with the range on this market. Now clearly it wants to break through the top end of the range, and I got to figure stocks that haven't already gone too far. A name that was, I passed up on this trade during lunchtime because I actually had a trade on the short side on the futures during lunchtime. So it was the 300 long on Netflix. And it was coming back in. I was like, I'm looking for a potential fail maybe. And then now by the time you get to the point where everything's gone up, Netflix is at like 306. Like really? Straight up Netflix. And you're now starting to enter a little resistance area here maybe, depending on how it moves, but keep an eye on that. Netflix definitely wasn't a much better opportunity earlier on in the day. And the other, well, since I'm talking about it, I might as well talk about the futures trade. Yeah, that was this trade. We saw how this one went, right? I got in at 94, got in 94 something, got out. I'm just like, you know what, let's call it a day on that one because of the oil report. And then liked it here, top end of the range, better prices, closer to where I would like to have the trade here, which is closer to 3,900. Take that all the way down. You got some 80s out a couple times, and then you got the 75 out much lower, and then it just turned about 10 minutes later. And that's the turn that this market has been kind of using to continue its move to the upside. And now what do you do? I want to see what happens here, which is right here. Where is it? Let's go with this chart. The 5 minute. This area, now that this area has been broken, I need two things to happen on the futures market here. We know I was using 20 as the line or the level to kind of break for the upside move, right? 20's been broken in a big way. The fact that it broke through 20 and it went all the way to 28 tells me a ton of stops went off. So stops are gone. Now let's see if it falls back, if this buying can actually hold up and handle any sort of selling that comes in after the stops goes off or after the stops have gone off. And there should be some pre-existing resistance that should act as support here once we get into the 39.10. If all of that is there, meaning we come back in, we catch buyers as expected somewhere south of 39.10, there could be a long here available on the futures as well with the breakout confirmed. But I do want to I don't want to rush this because I've seen this way too many times where ranges where it's quiet, stops go off, everyone rushes, and then there's no one left to buy and the market comes right back in. So we are going to be a little bit patient with this. I also need the lower price for a better risk on this trade. So it's a matter of risk control and also waiting for confirmation in this current market. I am still open to the idea of longs in equities as well if we come back in. I just got to find out which ones.
All right, we're just talking back and forth here about fantasy football on one of my chats as we go. We're just waiting for Aaron Rodgers right now to make that final decision. All right, new position right now, Qualcomm. So, you know, again, I'm going to short this name into the day's high. So right now, 115 here for Qualcomm just came in again. So if we zoom this out, that's 115.20 right there, where we're going to get out if it does rip back up to the upside. Qualcomm down today, huge move just recently, right back to the upside. Very, very sort of choppy in here right now. We'll put something on the bid. It's going to have to run us over in order for us to get filled. That's the problem. The spread is quite large and, you know, is what it is. We're short at 80 right now on Qualcomm. There we go. Did we just get that bid? Yes, we did. I was going to say I bid 64. Hope we got it there on the downside. So we're going to watch out for Qualcomm, averaging in if we can, even higher near that 115. But right now, we're going to take a Qualcomm short right back in. Here's the 20-minute chart. There's 115. It's been around here for a couple minutes. 115 back on the 20-minute. I like it. I mean, if we're going to take a name that's been pretty red over the last little while, this is a good one. We're below the 50. We're below everything. We've been picking on weak. There it is. Let's go, man. I gotta try to get something out here, Arun. So there it is. Yes, sure. Let's go. Bang. Finally, man. Whatever. We'll take this 30 cents right now on QCOM. And we're only out of half. So I just got out of half of what we had right there. You know, came right back into VWAP a little bit quicker than I thought. That's why it was strange. Like, this VWAP's so high up. I'm gonna have to figure out the settings here. But there it is, a nice little move to the downside for Qualcomm, looking to see if it breaks lower, 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 lower. And if that happens, maybe the market will, I don't know if the market's gonna turn red or not. But the NASDAQ is starting to pull back a little bit here off of that. So we'll see. NASDAQ trying to base higher. We do have the short now on Qualcomm, my very first short position on this name here today. All right, so there's a little drop zone right here for AMD. I feel pretty comfortable getting out if we break 89, back down to the downside here. Just take advantage of these moves up, just like Arun was talking about there with Boeing and whatnot off another great trade. You know, it's just a matter of waiting for your time. We're doing quite well today, and let's just hold out hope that maybe AMD can hold this bid. And if it doesn't, look at Qualcomm. Remember, we're out of half. Like, it's just right back up to the upside now. We'll see if we can reload, but I was waiting in the 90s now for this name. So let's wait on this one. It's Qualcomm right now as the NASDAQ turns positive, and we still have a ways to go on the ES, still down 0.8. Let's just check on WFC, because that was another name. I'm gonna throw it back to Arun in a second, yeah. All right, so okay, so here's WFC. Do we do this? We've already been up here once. Let's take this again on a short, because last time we didn't do it. Let's try to do it right now. We'll punch 86s. Did we get them even? There we go. Yes, we do. We got 86s. We'll wait to get a little bit more here. 89s. Gimme, gimme. We got it. There it is. So now we're short. Average price 87.50 here on WFC. Just giving it to 39. Let's see. Last time we didn't make this trade. Let's see if we can find a winner here on WFC. But a lot of this move here is bank related. So I feel like we got to wait on this. But there goes WFC. Let's see if we have another one. Target area right here, 60s. We'll see. We'll put some bids at 60s, see if we get that.
Yeah, I mean, what's the hot topic right now is going to be the banks, right? That's all that's everyone's focused on right now. We were hot for a few days, and then we went quiet for a day, and then Europe said, wait, we want to be involved in this too, and now European banks involved. And market holding up well. I mean, for the most part, it was sideways actions. All of this drop is from before the open. Since the open, it's sideways to up. So this market holding up well, regardless of what's happening in Europe and what their concerns are right now. But one name that I want to keep an eye on here is NVIDIA. NVIDIA held up well, again, near the bottom end of its support level, caught a bid, now running up strong to the top end. Let's just see if they can get through this top area right here. It sits at about 244.5. I'm going to say 245. So essentially 242 to 245, there should be some resistance here. Let's see how they do. Because if this market continues its rally and NVIDIA goes through this area very, very slowly, and then we end up at a resistance point on the futures, and it looks like it's going to turn, I think NVIDIA is an easy candidate for a fade here against the current rally. So I'm going to keep an eye on NVIDIA. Would I chase after this on the long? Absolutely not. So I don't know if you guys have noticed this over the last few days. The way I trade is I also time my entries with the futures. So if I have a reason to do something on the futures, then I know that I can do the same thing on the equity side. So then I find names to do that on the equity side with, right? If I wanted shorts on the futures, then I'm going to find individual names that I can find shorts on as well. So right now, with the market going up and not me thinking, hey, what's happening here north of 20? Is this a legit breakout? Because 20 was supposed to be the break. Is this a legit breakout, or did they just take stops and now they're kind of rudderless and not knowing where to go with this? So with that in mind, I'm not committing to anything. This market can confirm the upside break and continue rallying, or it can just fall off these 20s like it's been struggling right now, and we come back in and names that are at the top end of the range just fall back in. I need some sort of confirmation from the futures before I can actually take on these equity positions. NVIDIA is a candidate that I'm going to put in the basket of, oh, if we were to find a reason to short on the futures, then NVIDIA would be a top tier candidate for me to short as well against that top end of the range here. And I'm going to keep an eye on this one as this market continues on. Boeing making a nice recovery here now at 197.5, also in that resistance area. But because Boeing's had a rough day of it, I'm going to let this one go. I'll deal with this tomorrow. If it's still there, if it's not, we'll figure it out tomorrow, but not today. It's got a reason to recover regardless of what the futures market is doing. So we'll leave it alone. We'll come back to it tomorrow and see what it's got for us then.
Which stock? Boeing?
Boeing, yeah.
Boeing, okay, good. All right, so WFC went right down to 70 there, by the way. We only got it at 10% because it stopped at 70, then I was like, punch back up. So we did wind up getting some out at 75, but again, we're only short at 87. So to me, that was 1-to-1 there, right? Short 87, our out's gonna be a little north of 87 is the price, north of 39, so that would be 13 cents worth of a hit. So when we came into the 75s, we did start taking some bids out there. I have another one right now at 77. Hopefully that'll fill, and that will come back in a little bit now for us as WFC. Just trying to go 1-to-1. There it is. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Hopefully we can get some. Missed us, but anyways, we're there at 77, sorry. So if that comes in, we should be able to get that fill, and then we'll wait for lowers. Like we talked about this 64, 65, that's going to be an area that we're looking for, and then some of these tops, that's 60 again. So if we get down there, we'll let it go and hopefully fill us down on the low side. Qualcomm, all right, good stock so far, but right now we are testing those highs. Again, short, 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 out, out, out on the way back in. So you can see our average price right now is 91. So Qualcomm, when it moves, man. I don't trade this too often. I remember trading it last week, or was it last week or 2 weeks ago? Doesn't matter. Yeah, and it moves a lot faster and quicker than any of these other $100 names that I've seen anyways. Right now, liquidity, a little sparse on this name. You could see the spread right now 3 or 4 cents. So you do have to sort of level up your stops and expect to have a little bit more slippage on that. Just like, when you're winning on a stock, you're going to have a little bit bigger winners because of that. But then you got to be able to get filled, which is why we're sitting here on Qualcomm. One again at 70, right here at 78.80. If that can come in again, we'll fill that up, to make that 15 cents. And then again, just trying to go 1-to-1. We're going to be out at 20 if it breaks. And then again, down here in the 60s and then hopefully lower. If we can get this back into the 50s again for Qualcomm, then I consider that a W. But as you can see, the market right now is just hovering around the highs, making it hard for this name to come back in. All right, so WFC, we just got a 77 fill right there. Again, that's like, it keeps coming in and bouncing off that level, which to me means if we break lower, then we're going to have a nice little trade on our hands. We'll try to get something out at 70, like we said, and then hopefully waiting for a downside push into the 60s and lower. And that's the thing about Qualcomm is, about WFC. When it starts to move, obviously as these banks start to move, so will Qualcomm, so will WFC. So let's continue to watch that. FRC, I just want to see what's going on with some of these other, okay, so nothing there. And then Credit Suisse on this side, CS right here, okay, so not doing much. If these continue to fall, we had a nice little move up there on some, I don't know, some talk there about possibly bailing out. I don't know if it's a bailout. They're having a statement come out soon here. The Swiss regulator, FINMA, not FINRA, FINMA, going to come out and have, there it is, let's go. Have a little bit of a statement right there. So I say let's go to this, because there goes Credit Suisse to the downside, and so is right now WFC starting to get down in a little bit more. We're bidding 70s on that one. Qualcomm and then AMD as well. AMD's right now at the highs. I'm debating just saving that. Well, that's 89. That's 89.11. We can still continue to hold this one. AMD, still some nice little upside move. Hey, it's a $2 winner. Like you had there, you had a nice little win on Boeing. Here's a $2 one right now going through. So let's go, man. We're pretty happy with this win. And Qualcomm, WFC, they're all coming in right now.
Yeah, this market's still trying to figure out what it wants to do with these 20s. And I mean, as long as it wants to figure that out, I'm sitting out here. I'll be in a no position, as you can see. Their state. I'll be in a no position state for a while there. But okay, I was going through the chat. Somebody was talking about AMD potentially fading this. I mean, I don't know. I mean, damn, AMD was a great trade if you caught that 88.50 break at this point. In a situation like that where it takes off the top and it's expanding to the upside, I'm not sure I want to sit in front of that freight train. Don't get me wrong. There's been times where catching a falling knife has worked out very well and you get some of the best prices possible, but it's highly advised against. And in this case, standing in front of a freight train is not exactly the best approach, I don't think anyways, because the easier trade for me, instead of trying to predict that, hey, you know what, we're done with no resistance above, is to catch a bid where there is established previous resistance, which should be support, which is going to be south of 88.5. So it's almost like you give it the dollar to come back. Instead of trying to chase after the dollar from the top, you just try to grab it where you know that you're going to get some help from previous traders or previous positions that were kind of working those 88s into 88.5. So a pullback of a dollar could be a buy opportunity here on AMD, assuming the futures market falls into that 39.10 into 3900 and catches a bid as well. The last thing you want is a stop run that's got no more juice left and this market completely comes all the way back. So you do have to be careful of that. So AMD, you do your thing, but at the same time, for me, the easier trade is going to be trying to go long off of this previous resistance, which is now support, versus anything else up here where I have no help, no indication what I can work with. Like what charts do I use? What long-term charts do I use to work with right now? And I'm looking at the 30 going, nothing recent that I can find. So for now, AMD, definitely a trade for tomorrow, maybe, if we don't get that dip today, but that 88.5 is looking pretty good for a nice long opportunity if we get it.
Okay, so we get that on WFC, man. We just got that 20 cents. We got the 70s out right there. You can see there's the fill at 70. It came in, so that was a good level. It seems like it bounced off that level. It literally went to 70 and stopped. So it was a good thing that we were sitting there. So we get that fill on WFC. So far, so good here as our net is starting to grow upside a little bit because look at AMD. It's now taking out the day's high. So, I mean, that one is saying forget about this market move. Whatever the market's doing, AMD is just taking out highs right now. Although the market is close enough to taking out those levels again as well. Look at oil today, down 4. And is this the right contract, J? I feel like I've been on J for a while. I'll double check that, but down 4.5%. I feel like that's right right now. So J contract on oil down 4.5% right now today, and looking to get even worse. Although we've closed now 230 on that. All right, here comes the pullback in, man. Let's see what happens on this move. I see Amazon's faded out off of 96.50. Okay, come on, Qualcomm. Like we're short at 9, we're short right here. Let's go. I just want to show you something on Amazon right here because again, this has been a good stock lately to trade. Today, it's my worst. I mean, we're red on a couple names. Really, CS, we're only red on 2. Credit Suisse and Amazon. Everything else we're fine. And Credit Suisse got out of the way. It's because we started shorting this one way too early. So we are red on this name today, but it's all good. Look at that right there off 96. So what I wanted to show you here was, and it's not as dramatic as it looks here on my e-signal chart, but these little wicks to the high side right there. Like, you know, once you start wicking higher, I mean, like we make a high there and there's no wick, and then look at the drop down. So that's a little misleading. I don't know how you would have known to go short there, but right now, despite the market holding up, Amazon's pulling back. So that makes me think that we need to find an area to get in here. And I don't want to like go too, I don't want to use the word like, I don't know, too sort of like aloof on these trades. I want to make sure that we have sort of a planned entry, a planned exit as we go on that, right? So I think we got to wait for 96 if we're going to go short, but I don't really love the short. I mean, we're up on the day here for Amazon. So I was going to come over here, and I thought we would maybe talk about a little bit of a short there, but doesn't seem to be the case. So we'll wait on that. Maybe that's a little bit of a premature talk there on Amazon to go short. Let's hold it and see. Qualcomm, we're still giving it, if you're wondering about that one, 115.20 right there, which is the high of the day for Qualcomm. I don't even want to average in. Hopefully it will drop out. If it does, great. If it doesn't, that's fine too. Right now, Qualcomm, we're sitting on the bid. We're 10 cents in the money, but we need a lot more than that. Let's get another piece out here on WFC if we can. That just retraced all the way back to 83 there. There we go. We'll take a 75 fill and wait out on Amazon, on WFC.
All right. I was going through the chat. Somebody, this is not the first time I've seen this question, so okay, I should answer it, which is, how do I look for confirmation? I talk about confirmation all the time. It's not exactly as a chart-based thing versus a movement thing. So the chart, you could argue, oh, if this minute bar closes above that price, then you can wait for confirmation or whatever. That could be confirmation. I don't look at it like that. But what I want to see is, let's just say, for the future's sake, 20, right? So here we are at 20. 20 was supposed to be the top end of the resistance level. This entire zone was supposed to be resistance before we got to this point. So it looks something like this. So when we get this break, what I want to see is, we got the break, great. How does this market handle when we go in the opposite direction? We know above it, we want to go long. How does this market handle a sell against this price? So as we come back in, I want to see this market be able to get back to those prices that we've been trading at when we broke it, right? That 25s, those 26s. And all I see every time we come back in, every time we catch a bid, can't go any further. So that tells me that 20, the initial push was on stops, and then after that, they're not getting enough juice to go to the upside. So that confirms for me that the time for the breakout is not now, not yet anyways, because there's a couple things that could happen there. One, we could get strength here through that 39.10 into that 3900, pretty much where we're at right now. Or two, is that we actually have just lost all of our ammo, essentially, north of 39.20 by getting all the stops out. If people were playing short near the range top, everyone squeezed out and there's no one left, and now we just go back down. So this area right now we're in right here, 39.10 to 3900, this will tell me how this market is going to handle any sort of selling. If we keep catching a bid somewhere south of here, then I know that I have the strength to go for the long since we broke the top end of the range earlier. So here we are coming back from about 6 or 7 all the way back to 15. So clearly there's some buy strength here. This is starting to confirm for me that the strength is there, maybe just enough to go for the long. Now we got to figure out what the risk is, what the price is, what can I afford in terms of risk. Do I really want to take a trade here when my risk is all the way down here at 60? Absolutely not. I got to figure out all that stuff. Maybe 95, maybe 90, I don't know yet. But there's definitely bound to be a trade as this market is starting to catch a bid. This is what you want. This is confirmation of the breakout. This market came down, came into a resistance area, which should be support, and they caught the right amount of buying to confirm the strength there. Let's just make sure that's far away from that 25 and it's priced much closer to the 10. So that way we can control the risk on this trade. But that's kind of what I look for confirmation. Not necessarily an exact chart thing, but it is just more of a movement and action thing, because you do have to consider what happens at specific prices.
All right, off, just canceling some of my auto cancels here on that. Okay, good. All right, so if you guys are watching at home there, we were short Qualcomm at 95. We just got a 68 fill rate there, so that's 25 cents, which puts us, that's where really all of our fills sort of needed to be if we were going to go kind of on that one-to-one tip there. But again, now it's rallying right back up to the upside. So, we're going to have to wait on this one here for Qualcomm to see if it can work its magic back to the upside, or it's back down to the downside, I guess. 115.20 is our out, just in case. And unfortunately, there's the tick down. We did have a move down in the market, and we did get out as 89 breaks, and then pretty much we make the bottom. So we will give it up on that, but that's okay. It's $1.80 or whatever it was on that. Double check, $1.65 on that AMD trade. So it's a good trade there. Could always be better, of course. you know, we could have got out at the very top, but again, didn't realize it and thought that we had a chance to run upside. So should have taken a little bit more profit on that one, which we did not. So that one's definitely, well, I mean, every trade I'm responsible for. So that's one right there. I don't know, man. I don't know what this market wants to do right now, and it's a frustrating one, and I'm sure it's frustrating for many of you out there as well, because I don't really have too much confidence one way or the other right now in what I'm seeing. So I feel like we just stay with what we're doing. We got some great WFC fills down here. Again, short off 90s, out in the 70s right there, with our target coming. I mean, I'm going to go short again with our target on the upside right now of breaking through 39. So we've talked about that trade a couple times now for us on the show. So I feel like that's going to be a good one coming through for us on WFC. So let's put another offer up there. We're short right now at 89. We'll try some more at 89, and then we'll go a little bit higher than that too, you know, into the 90s, just to take another fill, and then set our stop breaking again through, as I canceled my stop the first time because we were out. So breaking through 39, we'll get out of that one if it does break higher. So far so good here on the day as we just watch out for this NASDAQ. Looks like it wants to get back Arun and make bigger and better highs. I'm just setting up my orders right there for WFC, so hopefully we'll get that short coming through soon, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, I mean,
I know there's not much to say right now.
No,
that's.
I'm also trying to look at this market and go, man, maybe I'm thinking long, but not at these prices. They confirmed it. We were talking about confirmation, but damn, given how fast this thing moves, they are right back into 2022 and 23 now. I'm like, I can't take a long. Now the price on this is too expensive. Why couldn't you slow it down a little bit? Damn it, man. Oh yeah, it's gone. If it does, yeah, I can't price anything north of 20. If I'm gonna get it, it's gonna have to be somewhere closer to 10. And this happens sometimes where you wait for the confirmation of what your idea could be, because at this point, you got to worry about both sides, right? You got to worry about the potential fail of the 20, and you got to wait for the confirmation or the strength that you're expecting at the 10s. And then sometimes by the time, more often than not, by the time you get the info you're looking for, it's already gone. And then you have to figure out, okay, do I still want it if it comes back in? And that's what I'm trying to figure out. If it comes back in from 20 again, do I still want this? Because then I have to start throwing some respect at the 20 to 30 area, and it's a moving puzzle, essentially. Do I have to respect that area if we come back from 20? And the answer to that is, if we go back to 10 again, absolutely. If we should not go back to 10 again, if this is actually as strong as it's looking on this chart. So we'll see how this one plays out. But when you trade one thing, it's a completely different game to move from stock to stock, and you're waiting for a specific pattern, and that's obviously the easier way to go about it. But when you're looking at one thing, like I do most of the time, which is on the futures, this is the constant analysis that you have to do, which is like, okay, is this the right price? Is this the right risk? Is it not? And sometimes you have to be willing to give up on those trades because it doesn't fit that criteria, and that's perfectly okay too. So here I am looking at this going, it should not come back to 10. If it does come back to 10, I gotta throw that 20 to 30 area as a resistance area, resistance level, and then I gotta reprice everything, meaning I can't afford to pay 10s. That's just too expensive going against a resistance level that's at 20. So I got to find something better and lower priced for me to get along if I still want that long, of course. And at this point, I mean, you know what I'll do? NVIDIA. And NVIDIA, are you still going? Oh, you are backing off these 242s. Okay. NVIDIA, remember, was my candidate for a short if this market were to kind of just peter out north of 20. And it looks like it's struggling with these 20s. So if NVIDIA can put in a new high and fail, I think that could be a decent long. What do we got? Just over an hour? Yeah, so I'll keep an eye on NVIDIA here. North of 242, 243, inside of the resistance level. And anything that doesn't carry on, I think there's a possibility of that NVIDIA short if we break the highs and come right back in with the futures market showing the same kind of resistance.
All right, so we just tried to short into Tesla just really quickly, but it did take it did take 180 there. That sucks because we were waiting for 179. We were just going to try to go 50 cents back and forth there, but it did take it out. So here it is. Now it's coming back in a little bit. We just got it was very, very quick through 180 there, and it stopped. And now I don't know if it wants to continue to go northbound now or not. But Tesla really trying to work. I'm going to try the long now on Tesla. We just tried 180. Let's go now. okay, now we're long on Tesla here. It just tested into 180. I feel like this is going to be a decent call here for the long. I mean, again, get a name that, you know, has some catch up to do. I mean, that's sort of the logic there. Now, whether or not that works out or not, I mean, I'm looking at these charts and I'm thinking like maybe that wick high back down 250. So we'll try to average it. I mean, you never want to average into a loser, but I still feel like if we could take a, you know, something like this position. Okay, now hopefully it starts to go back up here. And if we get it, which would be pretty sweet. So hopefully that'll come through. But right now, here goes Tesla back up to the upside. Our out was going to be 50 on the downside. So let's take a piece again if it continues to rip back up. But so far, so good. WFC reloaded nicely as well. We just take a dime on that reload. So let's just, now my focus has to be on Tesla. Let's go, Brendan.
NYCB, guys, one of these, this is New York Community Bancorp. Big pop here on heavy volume as well. Not seeing anything on this yet, but just a heads up. Up 8% for this one. NYCB trying to make a move.
Little by little, there's one random name, one small bank that's going to be all of a sudden in the news for its move. I mean, obviously, you're seeing it across the board here with a lot of volatile movement. FRC obviously was the big mover, down 14% on the day. And we saw what happened in the pre-market, right? When one of you guys called it out, it went from 38 to 31 and didn't halt in the pre-market because there's no halts in the pre-market because the book's not open. So here we are, 38 to 31. And what does it do after the open? Straight rally right back to where it started this move down. I think there was one halt in there, maybe a couple halts in there on the way up. And then since then, it's just, it's unfortunate really, because you would expect some volatility, but the major volatility is already gone. You know, it was a few days ago, and now it's just carrying forward that up and down movement. And what you're seeing here is just starting to go sideways action. But to be fair, 30 is right there. 30 could open the door for another move towards those lows here at 27.55, 27.50. What is the low here? 27.80. Oh, 61 is the low. I mean, 61 rounded down, 50 call it. And futures market. Strength.
Look at Tesla.
Okay, I see you. I see you.
Go!
Strong size. Oh, here we go. Here's a name that I can work with on the long side. Yes. Okay, finally we're getting a break on something with the market strength.
Yes,
what is it? It's snow.
Oh yeah.
Snow north of 140 to the upside. Okay, let's see if this holds up well. As long as the futures market doesn't kind of come back in from these highs, then the snow breakout into the end of the day could be something I want to work with. As long as we have the time for it. But yeah, I think snow's on the table here for a long, potentially, as of right now with the 140 break.
Well, that's what I was nervous about with these sort of this market move happening here. I mean, right now we're almost $1 in the money. Finally, right now we'll go some bangs for Tesla. I mean, I don't know. We went short there and make it back on the long, but there's the long right now, breaking a little bit higher for Tesla. So long right there at one. I mean, where are we long? 93s. So we just got a piece out at 63. So that's a decent return right there for that Tesla trade. So we're still going to hold it and see if it wants to continue a march higher. I'm not sure if it does or not, but we're going to wait to see about that one. And then just to zoom back to see where we've been today. So definitely up here, 182, I think is a great out. Anywhere around there, 181. Already come and gone a little bit, 181.25. Yeah, so I don't think there's any real worries with any of this right now. We're just going to wait to see where we go on Tesla. Nice. I mean, it's only 48 cents in the money. It's not even that much. We'll see if we can get it back if it comes back in. And then there it is again, another fallback for WFC right now, as that's coming back into 70s where I'm bidding. There it is. Yeah, 75. Nice trade there on WFC on the reload for the banks. But all right, Brendo, let's go back over to the big guy happening now.
Hey guys, 1 hour to go. Let's get you caught up on everything you need to know. Just seeing a note coming through on SVB. In fact, the latest here just coming out a few minutes ago. Looks like they're looking at bankruptcy as a possible option to free up some assets and free up some liquidity to pay off some creditors as this unwind continues for SIVB. No other real progress as far as that bank specifically is concerned. However, yeah, the only one on this board right now in positive territory, the NASDAQ 100. So it is a tech-led rally into the close here. 2 days in a row, 0.06 for the composite overall, still to the downside for the NASDAQ. The Russell has been relatively weak all week, 1.9 for the 2000, 1.14 for the Dow. S&P still struggling as well. Only 0.9, we're finally under that 1% mark. If you were with us early on this morning, we got you all ready to go. As far as banks were concerned, as far as Tesla was concerned, ended up being a bit of a non-event, as we were mentioning. Meta as well with another upgrade today. Nice positive move yesterday for Meta. There's the XLF, if you want to just look at the ETF, still 3% downside, but testing these session highs as we speak here, 3140 up to 3150 for XLF. Guys, back over to you.
Yep. And the futures market's back down,
There it is.
confirming what I was worried about, which is, am I going to have to put some respect on that 20 to 30 area? And the answer to that is yes, which also now means that's it for me. I'm done. This is getting confusing on the day. We got the breakout. Now we're starting to establish a new resistance level. I don't need to waste any time with this. I know how this one plays out. I'm not going to waste any effort or energy trying to go into this now. So now what I'm going to do is essentially that snow trade we were worried about. We were like, oh, that could be a long as this market doesn't come back in. Well, I got the answer to that fairly quickly, which is the market came back in and they are actually now forcing the range to be played. Now, could I play the range on Tesla? Sure. If I had the conviction in the market itself being topped out, it could go either way. We could actually catch an offer 20 to 30 or we could catch a bid 10 to evens. Either way, so I really am not a fan of playing inside that tight of a range. So if you got some questions in there, throw it up there. I'll go through the chat, spend some more time going through the chat and answering questions than I normally would. There was a comment in there saying about asking how I draw my levels or my zones as I would typically draw on a chart like this. Let's just say, pull up the features, there we go. The one thing I like to look at is where has the market spent time? That means I know there's volume there. That's where the market's really accepted price. So I know that's going to be an interesting level to get back to if we get back to that. And where has the market really rejected very quickly? That tells me the market does not want to be there. The reason it's there is because some sort of external event, whether stops getting taken out or some sort of news release. And that way I know that that area is a little bit thinner. So the areas where we have a lot more time spent going sideways or whatever, I respect those areas a lot more. So for me, when I know that we were up here on the futures in the 60s, and this is going back to, actually, you know what, it's not even, I guess I should, but it should be like this actually, because this contract moved over on Monday. So it should look like this. This is Monday, which would be the front month contract. Yes. So here we go, 60 up top, and then we put in a high again here late in the session and came off of it only to rally back yesterday in the afternoon. So if we were to open up here, I know that we have to get through this area. We really are trying, but we're not getting any traction. So I know that this area is something I got to watch out for. So I would draw a zone here. So it includes a little bit of the tops as well as the amount of time spent trading through there. So the fact that we actually just fell off the 60s through Europe doesn't help. It would have been nice if that had happened after the open, because why? We were in the right spot to do that. So we come all the way back down and then ignore the two in the middle because those are from today. And then this one here, 38.80 going on to 38.60, is a combination of what I was seeing in the pre-market yesterday and also a little bit of the action of Monday as well. So combination of the two tells me that somewhere between 80 and 60, we're gonna find some buying. And that's the level I've been working with all day. Mind you, I did take the short up here at 3,900. I did get out around 75, as you can see in these charts, 80s and 75s, because I knew what levels I was working with. I just never got enough to go for the long, so I never did take that long to catch the upside. But that's kind of how I go about kind of marking off levels, which is absolutely with the amount of time and volume spent. Also, where does the market want to be and not want to be? That tells you where support and resistance is and how fast it can move through those levels, or what you should expect when you get to certain areas.
All right, thanks Arun for all of that. And we just played a level off Tesla that we thought was going to be good support as well, and we just made a good amount of money on that, man. We went long 179.70, like we mentioned going long, and my best out right now is 25s. But it went to 50 and stopped. I actually had an order up here at 69 where we got out the first time. Well, I mean, the top is 70, so it didn't matter anyway. 65, 70 right there. I guess we got out 65 the first time, but it didn't break 50 this last time. So let's wait to see here if the futures want to hold. But again, out of half of it on the way up, and then our out on the downside is that break of 50. So we're getting pretty close right there. That's 50. So if we break below that, again, it's just the sort of the wick highs there, plus an even penny level there for 50. So that's what we're looking at on that one. And then, yeah, what's really happening for us right now as well is this move right here, right now on WFC back into 65. So, whoa, we just got that fill. Okay, good. So there's the fill in there at 65. So far, so good on that fill. Let's just see if it continues to work out for us. There it is. Now WFC going down to 59. So, yo, shout out to everybody. Like, shout out to Trade Nation out there that has this with me. We talked about that with Daryl today. If this is not your trade of the day, I mean, again, off the sticky note here, WFC 39s short. So there goes Tesla. Tesla just dropped in. I didn't even realize it because we're looking at WFC, but there goes Tesla. We're flat on Tesla on the day, which sucks. I mean, I never want to be flat after making 2 trades, but that's what we are right now on Tesla, flat on that name, as we just continue to watch WFC puke to the downside. This is a 35-cent winner right now, twice given to you. Twice is nice. What's up, Brendo?
This just coming across for Credit Suisse, guys. A Swiss member of parliament essentially just saying that earlier report is not true. So no discussions whatsoever for a bailout for Credit Suisse have been had. So a little downtick there for CS again.
But they have been saying that all day, right? No one's
Yeah,
looking for state aid. Who said there was?
Well, the minister, apparently there was a report. That's what we were talking about when we started the show. And that was this spike right here in Credit Suisse where, 230. Huge volume came in. There was a report that the finance minister there, FINMA it was, in Switzerland was going to step in and do something very similar, I guess, to what we did over here, the regulators did in the US about guaranteeing deposits and whatnot. So I guess that did not happen for them, which is why we get that nice move down here in Wells Fargo. It's 3:11, it's Power Hour. Thank you everybody for watching. Please hit the like and the subscribe. And that's Kat.
Hola, like and subscribe today.
All right, so if you don't like and subscribe today, then we'll have to keep playing that. So.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with keep playing that. I mean, the one that you don't want to keep playing is the one that the guys on the midday show do as they end. It's like, if you don't subscribe or like and subscribe, Fahad's going to dunk on you guys.
No, that one.
You guys, you don't want Fahad dunking on you in Adobe here, Photoshop, because he's windmilling. You know, he's going to get you guys. So like and subscribe when Fahad says it, but at the same time, Katrine's being nice about it. Yep. So you can either go with Fahad or go with Katrine, whichever way. The likes got to come somehow. And what are we sitting on in terms of likes right now? Anyways, 663 on 5,000 people. I mean, that's
the efforts are
less than 10%, but I guess, sure, guys. I'm just pointing it out to you guys. But anyways, going back to the questions in the chat that I asked for. NVIDIA, what did I think about NVIDIA? AMD as well. I mentioned AMD. Remember 88.50 and change? If we came back in, there's a support level there that we could potentially catch, but not today. AMD, on the other hand, again, it's in the right spot for a short if you can find a reason to get the short. Again, it's got to be timed with the futures market as well. So because I'm done, I'm going to pass up on everything. But at the same time, just be aware that if you have a reason to find a short somewhere between 242 and 245, there could be something that you can work with that would be profitable the way that AMD is moving as well. Brennan.
All right, more comments on this Swiss matter. The central bank saying they would provide liquidity against collateral to help Credit Suisse. But no state aid down here. No state aid for Credit Suisse has been discussed.
Just to drill home the point.
State aid for Credit Suisse? Okay. They're country, right? But okay, I guess state is the state of Switzerland right there. But if they're not going to add it, this is what we talked about before, was Europe, right? I mean, it's kind of a house of cards over there with a lot of these banks, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse again, some of the banks there in London. And it's like they don't have, I mean, London's outside of the EU, but they don't have that one regulator that can step in and just say, this is this. So if Switzerland is not themselves going to state or back its state-backed funding, then I'm not sure what that means for Credit Suisse. The volume has picked up a little bit here in the name, but at the same time, you know, you're still kind of just in these areas. I mean, we can zoom back out a little. This is just a 1 minute chart to see what we're looking at today. That very bottom is 187 there on Credit Suisse. So maybe there's something there, but 210, I'd rather just, I have it up on the side here. I'm just gonna keep on watching it, and as it trades, that's sort of what I'm gonna try to follow. If I see any dramatic movements on it, then we'll go back and forth. But again, 325 million, probably does 400 million today into the close for Credit Suisse. Meta right back to its levels again. I mean, look where we are on the daily. I mean, I didn't, when we were down here at 170, did you think like in a week and a half, we'd be right back up to these earning highs where we've been before, also coinciding where the split happened from the name Meta. So what a disaster, because we don't, the reason why I know that happened in June 9th is because we don't have anything before that. So this is when the name change, the symbol change, sorry, and name went from Facebook over to Meta, and then that created a huge downside move. You know, just kind of coincided with it. I don't, you know, their numbers got hit. They had some bad numbers, some big investments into the metaverse. But this is where we were screaming, you know, without saying bad things, but bloody something down there to buy up some Meta if you believed in tech a little bit there with a 13 or 12 PE. Now you're back up to 21 PE on this name, and you're right back to these highs again. So I think I'm gonna have to look at my account tonight, figure out my exposure to Meta. It's still quite large, although we have gotten some out. I just want to see if this is the right price to do so. We never get in and out of trades in our own personal accounts while on the show with you. That's just, we're not like that, although there are others that are like that, and you can look up SEC and all this kind of stuff, and you can figure out the guys that are doing that. All right, so on this move upside, what, you know, what's relatively weak? Boeing's still down there. I know you're, I mean, maybe I should leave Boeing alone. You're going to leave it alone until tomorrow, you mentioned. But there is a nice short there for Boeing. That went down to 192. Geez, 192.50. Nice retracement back, and you're still hovering around VWAP right now. So this could actually be a short right now if you break below this 196.50. I mean, you're right here. You got VWAP, you got the 50 period, and then a retracement back down here to 195.50 possible. So that's not a bad break right there if it does come in. I'm just keeping my eye over here because I'm still in WFC, and I'm trying to watch Credit Suisse as well. Netflix up to 304 again. That was a good move over the last couple of days. Netflix was sort of left for dead underneath there. We did talk about I was gonna say we did talk about 280, but you know, that came in and 2 days ago, and boom, right back up to the upside now, resisting off that 280 drop right there. That very bottom is like 275, but that's a good little wick candle. You can't see it. That's a good little wick candle right there to 285. So, you know, Netflix has some nice downside. All right, anything you guys want to do? Steven started a BAC position for calls, for July calls. March, July. Okay, so a little down the way here. Probably a little expensive for that. I wonder what price you got there. I would say by the time July comes, I mean, who knows where we're going to be? I mean, just to think that in January, you know, you went from 33 up to 37, now back down to 28 again here on BAC. So for me, I always like to look at 50 periods. We will have Daniel Shea back on next week. We can ask her specifically about BAC if you want. But there it is right there, back up to 34, 35. That seems reasonable right there. This is the 50 and the 200. Death cross right there, but it also crossed there. But there it is. There's the cross to the downside, down to 28 and change. I don't mind that. You know, BAC, Wells, WFC, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, they've all been taken for a little bit of a ride. So yeah, picking up some outsized duration calls, I like that. But, you know, again, you guys are more about the options than I am. So let's wait to see. Yeah, we're going to have to wait to see on, by the time the summer comes around, where the volumes are as well, and where some of these indexes are at. So, all right, Wells Fargo is bouncing around a little bit here. I don't know, man. Maybe it just doesn't want to break this 52. Let me put something else down there. I'm going to put another bid at 60 in case we do come back down, which would be right there. And then if we do get that ultimate bottom again, we'll take it. But we're going to short it again back up near 39.
All right, I'm going through this list, trying to figure out what trades I can set up for tomorrow. Obviously, some of the names that are down big today. Goldman Sachs is down, and could be setting up something here. We're putting a nice little base in around. This is a 30-minute chart. Obviously, we gapped down underneath the low, the most recent low of 314, and we gapped down underneath. Never got back above in the pre-market, and then completely fell apart down to 305. And now we're starting to kind of churn a little bit here. And I wonder what's going on at 305. What is the low here? I thought it was 305. 304 and change. Okay, so we'll call it 304 then. If Goldman Sachs is still here, on a day like today where a lot of the banks are having a rough go of it, but the big banks are holding up well, then if Goldman Sachs has also stabilized, I would think that 304 could be used as a potential support area to go for a long, as long as we don't completely fall apart overnight and take out that low. If we take out that low, that's an easy trade. You go for the breakdown, you go for the short, and see if they get to 300. Of course, what I'm thinking is if this market can hold up overnight north of 3,900, we could have a trade here north of 308-ish against the lows, and see if we can't play a long going into tomorrow. Because right now at this point, all I'm doing with the time that's left on the market, which is about 40 minutes or so, I'm trying to use that time to figure out what my next set of trades are for tomorrow, right? We've already established that we're not going to do anything today. So what am I doing tomorrow? Potentials. Potential long here on Goldman Sachs. Potential short if we break the lows. Okay, that's done. I'm going to go through that checklist there and see what else we have available. Walmart's another name. Walmart's been strong lately. When we've been falling apart overall, and Walmart's been holding up well. And you're seeing another strong performance from Walmart, up 1% or almost up 1% here. Got above that 139 area, which was a problem. This was the zone that we were working with. They ripped right through it. What time did that start? About 1 o'clock or so. And now we're coming back into it. If we can come back into that 139, that previous resistance should work as support. So another long candidate here on Walmart. So Walmart potential. We've got Goldman Sachs as there as well. Netflix on the table. Netflix, again, it's going to have to be at that 300. But that trade's already gone to the next resistance area, which is 306. So what we need on Netflix is another move back down into that 300, which catches the bid. So now I have two breakout trades, one that needs to come back in. So in the event that I like the long, but I don't like the long at high prices, I can wait for a pullback. So with Netflix, if it can come back in $4 or $5, that's back in potential for a long as well, as long as it doesn't fall apart. So that stuff like that is what I'm doing now. I'm using that time to make sure that I have my stuff ready or my checklist ready for tomorrow for different scenarios, for potential longs, shorts, fades, longs, but at lower prices on pullbacks, stuff like that. So I'm kind of taking my time and doing that right now.
All right. Good. All right. So just looking at Tesla here. First of all, we did get that win right now on WFC as it just came back in right now. So hopefully we'll have a good move here on WFC back in. Juju Smith-Schuster signs with the Patriots. Right now, I'm just telling you guys in my chat, Mac Jones right now. So hopefully that'll be good for them as we go. I was still waiting for the Green Bay news here, as it seems like Captain Rogers, I guess.
How do you think that plays out, right? Obviously,
well, he has no choice now, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like, who has the upper hand here on that trade? The Jets do or the Packers do? Because they know he wants out.
It's not even, yeah, well, the problem is the contract. Because he's owed 120, like we were saying.
Right.
There, and he's only 2 more years.
Okay.
So I don't think the Jets, I mean, for me, the upper hand is probably, I don't think there is one right now. It's the Green Bay, I feel like it's just going to have to give him away for free.
Right.
And then so the discussion, in my opinion, I mean, if Green Bay gets anything for the dude at this point, I think it's thumbs up. But, you know, it's just the fact that he's 38 years old, getting up there in age,
right.
And the Jets are a relatively young team, just looking for a quarterback. And I don't even think the Jets should do it, to be honest with you. But we'll wait to see if.
So you think they'll take on the 120?
I don't think. They don't have it. I mean, at this point, there's no other quarter. So what Aaron Rodgers did is not only screwed the Packers, but he also screwed the Jets, because even Baker Mayfield today signed with, I don't know if you know anything about him, but he's pretty bad. And he signed with Tampa Bay today. There's no quarterbacks left on the market. So they've all signed with new teams. So right now, it's kind of like, okay, well, the Jets are going to have to do this with Aaron Rodgers or suffer with their current quarterback, which they don't want to have to do that either.
What if they just did it just to stick the Packers? Because they're like, you know what, your
No,
quarterback
Green Bay's fine. He'll retire.
Oh, if he stays in Green Bay, he's going to retire?
Yeah. I watched him on the Pat McAfee show. He's like, oh, I came out of darkness, and I realized that, like, you know, my time here in Green Bay was sort of over. For Packers fans, I think a lot of the problem was, too, is that he expected us to sort of kiss ass to him. And the fact that a lot of us were like, see you later, we got, you know, I don't think he really liked that. So anyways, there's some discussions there for another show. But we'll see where Aaron Rodgers goes at some point today. Okay, so just while we were talking here, I don't know, I shorted 195 here on Credit Suisse. So that's the position that we have. I'm just taking some out here at 193, but nothing. Like, I'm waiting for 192 and lower. So I saw WFC crack a little bit lower there. So I was just like, you know what? We could take this against $2. Obviously, we're going to try to hold this for some of those day lows again right here that we've already gotten, 175, 180. I'm just sort of thinking that maybe bad news begets worse news. So, and now the book just got thick right there at 93. So I don't know, man. We'll just wait. Hopefully the next update Brendan has for us is something bad about Credit Suisse. But we're already in this, and honestly, I don't know. I'm just trying to make, you know, kind of like, make wine, water out of wine, wine out of water here, because there's not much happening, as you've just talked about that in the market as well. We're still short WFC, and we're just at these levels. If there was anything to do right now, it might just be Tesla, but again, look at us just bouncing off 180. Is it worth the risk profile right now? The market's been so bursty when it goes that you go short there, you could get bursted up to 180, 180.50, get taken out, and then it just drops back down, kind of like what happened to us here. We were rallying, and then just one quick burst down, 2 1-minute candles, and we're out. Moves $1, so it's like it moved $1 in 1 minute, and since then, it's just moved 50 cents back and forth. So it's like playing a game that I don't really want to be a part of right now. So let's just hold out hope that WFC and the banks continue to go to the downside. FRC again. You know, again, another one here, 34.35 would have been good, but maybe this helps us get the push down that we need. But I don't know, market kind of dead right now.
Oh, there's a question in here about, I think you mentioned this yesterday, about the March Madness bracket.
Oh, I did fill it out. Yes, I did want to get to that. All right, so let's go over here. ESPN, I just want to call it out. Thanks for that. Oh, almost forgot. This is your very last minute right now to fill this out. So it's right into here. I want to give a big shout out to everybody that's in this pool right now. Here's me, very, very unique name, Trader TV Sean. So you should be able to find that in there. My wife is in here under Trader TV Sean's wife, I believe. So when she beats me, that's going to look real good. Shout out to JT Trades. I don't know if there's anybody in here. There I am right there. There's Sean's wife right there. So she's in there. What's up, Trader Luke? It's Kling Daddy. I'm just trying to find people that are in the chat to give a big shout out. And guess what? I'm going to do this right now. I haven't discussed this with anybody yet. Whoever wins the pool, you're coming on the show. So how about that? You think that's good enough? Well, I mean, we're not allowed to give out prizes or anything like that unless there's an actual.
Really?
Yeah, that's we had the lawyer look into this. I was giving out hats and everything like that just for the sake of it. But apparently there has to be either like some sort of a monetary contest, or there's some sort of a rule there about being fair and being audited and all that kind of stuff, and who you pick to win.
Damn YouTube.
Yeah, no, it was something like that where it was like, no, you can't give away that stuff again. So we did one. I remember Pratt helped us with it. It was the chat that did it, made a wheel or whatever and spun. And Pratt gave away Game Pass. That's what it was. It was an Xbox Game Pass. And then we found out that unfortunately there has to be. I mean, if anybody's
the lawyer said no.
There's something about that. I don't know what it was. We went into our meeting. So, anyways, what I can offer, and I think it'd be pretty cool. You come on the show. You talk hit hashtag madness. There we go. Someone just said I was blessed them with a hat. Hey, what's up, Daryl? Yeah, he was on the. Yeah, Daryl's on the show. So again, Daryl's on the show. All right. So the one thing to do is join the pool. Whoever wins We'll have them on as like a guest trader of the day. You can trash talk Neil about beating him and everything like that. And then you come on the show.
How do you find it? Is it what's
it's
the
right
name?
there, hashtag madness. So
okay.
I'll also tweet it out again, but make sure you join it right now. It's the ESPN Trader TV Live pool. And I'm going to tweet it out right now. I tweeted it out before. I'm going to do it again right now. Go find it. We're all in it. Hopefully, Arun. I mean, you should enter it anyways. You can even randomize it. But let's get that going. Anybody that wants to join it, I'm sure Brendan hopefully will join as well. Hopefully Neil will. And I mean, there's absolutely no reason not to join. So Prad, join. You're in it, right, Prad, already? No? You guys are losers, man. What about you, Fahad? No. All right, well, I'm not going to pump it anymore, so back to you, Arun.
It's Sean, Neil, and...
No, but it's a joke. I mean, we should all be in it. Why not? You should be in it too, man.
I mean...
Why not? Go ahead and pick some guys.
I don't care enough, man. I love to play sports, but I don't really like. I'm not going to spend time watching
Neil's in it,
other
just like
people
it's
play
going to be
sports.
me and Neil. Hopefully Brenda will get into it, and hopefully Prad will as well.
There you go. And then Fahad, you don't want Fahad because you know he's going to.
I want Fahad. I want Fahad.
You know he's going to smoke
win
all
it,
of you
man.
guys
That's why
because
I
you know
want
that's
Fahad
what
in
he's going to
this.
say. He's saying it's the easiest win already, and he hasn't even entered. He doesn't even know what he's talking about, but it's the easiest win. So you don't want him involved. Right now, you're facing against Sean and Neil in the pool there, and we'll see who comes out. What is the prize? They come on the show, right? Just
Yeah,
just
come on the show, whatever. I'll probably send you a hat.
Maybe not, depending on what the lawyer says.
Well, you know what? Because this is, so we might be able to get away with it because it's an actual contest. So maybe there's something, because it's being run on ESPN, maybe there's something there that we can do. So I'm going to find out about that.
Okay, there you go. There you go. And enter if you want to come on the show and talk to Sean and Neil and about whatever. It's been a while since we've done those, right? Having a guest trader on.
Yeah.
It's been like what, last year? Last time?
Maybe even more than that. I feel like it's been a while. I feel like you're right. It's been probably more than a year since we used to do guest traders all the time. But hopefully we'll do it again. I'm just. Whatever, we'll move off on this. I thought this was something that everybody wanted to do. So let's go. We'll go on to something else right now is FRC. So basically Credit Suisse just went up there and broke through $2 again right there. So hopefully this will hold right there to 204 and change. We'll see if that can go back down to the downside right here, 198, 196 and change. Back down for Credit Suisse.
All right.
I'm gonna
Futures
tweet
market
this
making
out.
another attempt at these highs. I mean, back and forth we go, and this is why I wanted to avoid this mess and not get involved, because this is kind of what we've done here on the futures. Down to 10s, back to 20s. Now we're at 21, going into the end of the day. Final 20 minutes before we get the imbalances, and then obviously close 10 minutes after that. And this market's pushing on the highs right now. Keep an eye out. Yesterday around 3:30, roughly in the next 5 minutes, we should see some activity from the programs, the closing program starting on. We saw that yesterday. We rallied 40 points from 3:30 right into the close there. So let's see what happens here going into the end of the day here as we get closer and closer to that imbalance at 350. Now, with the market barely down here, I mean, NASDAQ's up 0.4, S&P down NASDAQ up 0.3, S&P down 0.9. And this futures market kind of stuck here between 20 and 10, maybe? Yeah, in the last little bit since we got that breakout. The close should be a little bit more interesting because, one, we had a lot of movement overseas that should be now dealt with in terms of ending imbalances for some banks, specifically the bank. We saw what BAC came in. It wasn't big, but it came in at the end there. It was surprising. And then we have that other name. I forgot the name, which was...
BG?
BG, the ad.
BG? Yeah, Bungie?
The ad, yeah, the Bungie ad, which was supposed to be done before today's open, right? So we saw that big imbalance that was dealt with. It was a sell side move, which pushed BG down. Let me pull up the chart for that. Right at the end there, it pushed BG down. This is a 1 minute chart right there. You see it as we got into the end of the day. We went from 105 and change right into that 104.50. So a nice little drop there. And now BG's continuing its move down, right? BG was that ad into the S&P 500 that's replacing something.
Silicon Valley Bank, I think it was.
No.
Oh yeah, there was another one.
PODD is the one replacing?
Yeah.
Which one's yeah.
There is no Bungie one, I don't think.
No, man, there's something about Bungie. We talked about it yesterday.
Yeah, there was
look
something
into
about
it.
Bungie. Yeah,
I'll look into it.
But that's what we're looking for right now is imbalances, and that's going to be coming out in just 17 minutes, hitting again. So yeah, someone said, why are you guys shorting Credit Suisse? I was just hoping that there was going to be more negativity to come on this name, but there's 210 right there. I wonder if this is just too obvious of a stop out. So I am going to give this one to 215, and I'm going to take a little bit more shares, a few more shares. Is that better English? Up here at what happened there? Credit Suisse. Okay, we're there. Okay, good. Up here at 208. So we'll see. Did I not pay for enough shares? What just happened there to my order? Credit Suisse rejected. Why? Why? Not enough shares available. Okay, I have to go find out if I mean, I don't think I'm at my max what I paid for Credit Suisse here, but we'll figure that out and get a little bit more here at 09. There it is. Okay, sorry, I just typed extra 0 there. So we're waiting at 09 right now for Credit Suisse. And again, it is paid for short. So for us here, I think it was like about half a cent or so per share. I don't think it was that much. It might have even been less than that, maybe a quarter of a cent per share. So we did have to wait for that on for that short right now. It's funny because WFC is not really bumped back up, but Credit Suisse indeed has. So we'll wait for that one. Yeah, and there goes Tesla, man. Congratulations to anybody that believed in that name to the short side because it worked, and it worked quite well. Sorry, to the long side off that bottom break. And we talked about that at 179.50. That's actually where we got out. I mean, it did break VWAP down here to 179.20, but there's the move right back up to the upside as the NASDAQ is chilling and not doing much. So, you know, that's something to look out for here. NASDAQ not doing much, but Tesla is screaming to that north side. So, you know, maybe Tesla, if this market does continue to go, that's definitely something to look at there for TSLA. Tesla continuing its strength. Now, is that the day's high or were we higher there earlier? No, yeah, we were not much higher, but 182 and change right there earlier. So do we get to that on these imbalances? Maybe. It's a nice little run recently there for Tesla against the NASDAQ. So that's a bit strange. Let's just check out what Apple's doing right now. AAPL. Credit Suisse is getting very close. I got to put that 216 trade to get out of that one if it does break higher on me for Credit Suisse. So we'll just put that out right now. As there it is, man. We're now short into that level, 215. It's not going to be right. It doesn't look like it, so that sucks, man. We'll start. Again, we only have 2 red names here today. Well, Qualcomm is actually a cup of coffee on the red side there as we shorted that one. That was wrong as the market took off. But again, there's now Qualcomm making some new highs. That name is... This name we're barely out on, but it is Credit Suisse and Amazon are the 2 names that we're down on today. Off a short Amazon and now again short CS right now, as it looks like it just can't believe right at the end of the day here we're going to take out the day's high. I have too many shares to hold it all the way to 25, so I'm just going to use that recent afternoon wick right there of 15s. It's actually right here right now 13s. So I'm going to go a little bit higher than that and give it to 15. If I had known this move would happen, then we would wait for that ultimate tick. I just thought that we weren't going to go much higher than this. This was during all that nonsense that Brennan sort of refuted there, that they weren't going to get state-sponsored coverage. But again, maybe the EU going to figure that one out. We're short at 98 here on Credit Suisse, out of the money 12 cents.
Yeah. So,
wow, AMC down again today.
So I did look into that with the whole Bungie thing. It was PODD in, BG in, SIVB out, SBNY out. So 2 in, 2 out for the rebalances. And while I was there,
did it say?
Well, no, what's that?
Did it say today or?
No, that was as of close last night.
Last night, okay.
Going into today's open, and now I'm going into what Friday would look like for the rebalance. Remember, it's quad witching. You got rebalances happening third Friday of the quarter. So it looks like the core, and this is interesting actually. The S&P 500 portion of it is about 28 billion in total trade size, which is about the same. What's that? Which is about the same as December. So nothing different from December in terms of trade size. But the 400, the S&P 400 portion of the trade is 120% larger than December, which is very interesting. That means there's a lot of mid caps in there that are going to be moving around, whether it's additions, deletions, or even weight changes. So definitely some mid cap movement here on Friday. Ones to watch out for. We saw some top names in the S&P 500 get moved and deleted. Now, I think the S&P 400 is going to be a little bit one. Even more interesting than that, the 600, which is mostly small caps, the S&P 600 is 416% larger than December with the trade size of 9.4 billion. So clearly, mid caps and small caps are where Friday is going to be. The large names, not so much compared to those two at least. So Friday should be, and you know those small caps are, Sean, they're volatile.
Oh yeah.
They're volatile. So if you're telling me that it's going to be 4 times larger or 400% larger than a typical move, like we had on in December's rebalance, I think that's going to be interesting to trade going into Friday.
Wow, yeah, it's going to be good that you're going to be here. We'll talk about those numbers as they come out there on Friday. By the way, we'll flush ourselves down the toilet again for Credit Suisse. There it goes, man. We took it, obviously took a little, I mean, the hit wasn't outsized, but pretty nasty. I mean, we never, all these shorts, we took like, what, we took 2 cents? Wow. And then we wind up losing 13 cents or so on that, or sorry, 16 cents. We were short 98, out 16s, 18 cents. Nasty. Should not have done that. Well, we should have done it. It's fine. I just didn't want to test that level. And hey, look, when you're playing off levels, sometimes they'll crack and you'll lose on those, and that is what that is right now. So only one position left. It's WFC. I'm just going to wait. Nothing happening on that, so I don't know. We'll have to wait on it. All right, let's just go back over some names that what we've traded today and positive on. Meta right now still breaking new highs, man. And look at this 50 period. It just keeps riding this 50 period on it's the 50 period EMA on Meta right now. I want to give a big shout out to Dan Emmons. He just tweeted out that or put on our chat that he had his best day today, shorting. So great job today. Again, you know, amazing that you could. I didn't catch the symbol that you mentioned. What I was going to say, on a day when the market just made this quite nice rally, there was a lot of opportunities to short. And I know you had that futures call and then some nice moves in today before now busting up. And then even if you could have shorted in here off 12,400, I guess, and now you're making a move back down as we zoom in a little bit here on the, I guess zoom out a little bit on the futures. I'm going to push this down a little bit. You're now below the 50 period, or at least thinking about making more moves below the 50 period right now on that name, XOM. Wow, XOM retreated all the way back to 100, eh? It's at 101 right now, XOM, and looking pretty nasty, down 5% today. I don't think a lot of us, we have that nasty wick there. I'll probably have to clear that out to show you guys, but there it is, bouncing off 100 right there. That's $100.19. We have the bottom as being $100.22. So right there, came right in again and down 5 and a bit percent. I don't know why my daily's not loading on XOM, but just over the 20-minute chart, it's been a pretty nasty move down for XOM. I prefer Chevron. I just like the XLE. I mean, the XLE is housed by Chevron and XOM, so there's lots there as well. Okay, I was going to say, now this isn't working, but they have the largest buyback, I think, in corporate history right now, Chevron. So if you were a little bit worried about their stock, I wouldn't be. Their company sure isn't worried about it. There's a nice pullback in for Chevron as well. Well below, man, as oil continues to be topsy-turvy right now. Oh, man, if you can get down into 140, 144 here for Chevron, again, their buyback is absolutely enormous on this name, and I really like it. Let's just check what the PE is here on Chevron. Plus, they're giving also, I mean, they're always really low on gold stocks, so 8 right there. Or let's call it 8.6. I was going to say let's call it 9, but 8.6. XOM, the same thing there at 8. And then we don't have dividend yield on here, but both those guys, both those names printing 3-4% dividend yield. So good on that right now for all you traders in the oil patch. I do like it. And then XLE again as well, getting hit down. Wow, XLE down 5.5 to 6% today as well. Nasty moves here in oil, downside. It's like you run for the hills, protecting yourself with oil, and then now tech obviously blasting today as we get some good trades today. 52-week high for Meta, right? So, or no, it's not. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know why eSignal would show that. Maybe it is. I don't know. But it is a 52-week low for Credit Suisse. We know that much. And NVIDIA 240, that's a nice level. And then Microsoft, wow, up to 264. Just looking at that right now, as that's up here, was up better, but up nicely today at 1.5% against a red NASDAQ. So lots of strength in these markets, it feels like.
Yeah, right now
in the NASDAQ market.
Yeah, right now the market coming off a little bit, and I guess good thing we're throwing some respect at that 20 area because they definitely are catching some action up there on the sell side. Early look on the sell imbalance. I believe it is the sell imbalance, if I can just find it. What do we got here on the sell side?
What are you looking for?
The sell imbalance. Do you know what the 960?
Didn't come out yet, did it? Oh,
early look.
Yeah, 960. Brendan brought
almost
it.
a billion, which is pretty big, I think, for a market that came out 4.4 yesterday and looking at 960. Remember, the early look is never exactly that number. It's always going to be some variation. It just gives you the idea of direction.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's a sell side move, interesting for a market that's had a rough go of it, has stabilized. It is going to be a sell side imbalance. It looks like that could be wrong. We don't know. It's just to give us an idea of what to expect when we get to 350 and we start to see the imbalances. There was a question about, because I was talking about rebalances for Friday. I'm just going to continue on that. What's expected? All I'm really going to say from this is media and entertainment sector has a ton of activity in the S&P 500. There's a lot happening there out of media and entertainment, a lot of deletions, it seems like. And then migration in the software services, meaning out of the S&P 400 and into the S&P 500. So a lot of stocks going up into the big index. And that's where the majority of the volume seems to come from, or the majority of the action for the rebalance comes from the 400 and the 500, which is mostly media entertainment. There's some technology, hardware, and equipment as well in the S&P 500 that's got a lot of activity. And then you've got the pharmaceuticals on the buy side and software and services on the migration side to the upside, well, from the 4 to the 5. So that's just from our internal sources. So I'm just going to use that and keep that off camera. But that's what it looks like going into Friday. But I mean, that's just what from the math that's been done. Of course, once we get that math, people can kind of do their own share calculations throughout the day. They know everything needs to be done on Friday. Well, they can get done a little bit today, a little bit tomorrow, a little bit going into Friday, and then what's left on Friday, probably not a whole lot. And that's what tends to happen with these rebalances, where they've gotten a lot more efficient with them, where they don't wait until the final day to get it done. They just start taking care of business a few days, if not well in advance, and taking it into the rebalance on Friday. I mean, it just provides more volatility, and you're starting to see some action here, especially with options expiration coming up on Friday as well. Tesla. Hey, Tesla, you know that 180, we can let go of that 180 now, right? No, apparently not. We cannot let go of that to 180. And one of you guys mentioned yesterday that 180 is also where there's a ton of options activity. So with options expiration coming and Tesla refusing to move out of 180, it makes sense to me that we probably aren't going to go too far away unless there's some crazy news on Tesla that for whatever reason pushes us away from 180, but it does seem like it's going to be pegged to 180 going into Friday, at least the way it's been trading the last couple of days, and now knowing that there's options activity, a lot of options activity on that 180 at Tesla.
Of that slope. I'll talk about that after here. I was just messaging Michael Noss about something on trade ideas. Okay, so just really quickly here, I'll call up something on trade ideas that I was looking at right now. The relative volume leaders, right? So today you get Citigroup, WFC, Oxy, Boeing, which we've been on today, Microsoft, the leader right now of all the tech names. So if there's anything 1.68% or times its relative volume today, then there's Netflix and AMD. Most of the names on here, the top, C, I guess, is red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top 5 or 6 names all red. There's Microsoft, XOM bouncing back and forth. CCL today as well. There's Ford. Ford's 1168. Okay, that fell down in a little bit there today. AMAT, then Netflix and AMD. So some of the big tech names there. Microsoft, Netflix, AMD, Meta. The only names on here are big tech names that are green with relative volume outperformance. So, to see where the strength is, seems pretty obvious right there where it is. It's in those big cap tech names, and that's why we see the NASDAQ just holding on to positive now with only 3 minutes until these imbalances. I'm flat. We still have WFC, but you can see here, we got, when it came back into the 60 level, like that was a good out there at 65, and then we got a 56, then we got another 60 right there. So pretty much, some of these plays here at 70 were good outs. Remember, we're short up here at 90. So, we played that pretty well. Credit Suisse, we did not. We went the other way on that name. So upside move there for Credit Suisse and out of that name right now. But we got taken out twice. There, first of all, it was good in the morning while it was working, but hasn't really been too great late on the short side. But if you were long, then a completely different story. I keep looking over there. Good. I think Neil was at the game today. The Jays won, but they got smoked yesterday, I saw. I'm just seeing some updates. I keep checking my phone because I'm waiting for that final news about A-Rod going the other way. Okay, so Google right now and Qs. This is up. This is a good one, man. This might be one of the better ones. Up 2.5% today right now. And again, just bouncing again off 96, so that could be a level. Remember when we talked about DraftKings earlier and I was like, wasn't sure about it? Yeah, well, should have been right there bouncing. And we were talking about it right here. Right when we were at these levels, 1750, huge move now, upside for DraftKings off of that level. Again, that's what I'm going back and forth with Michael Noss, like talking about different slopes of some of these moving averages and whatnot, looking for advantages there and trying to figure out, which moving average we like, which moving averages we don't like. Because, I have a lot on here. I only have 3, but it's VWAP, it's the 50, and it's the 200. So it's just about, figuring out what the right solutions are for all of these. Here's the other loser that we have today is Amazon. And again, only up 1%, but still up. Another major cap tech name that's up. Tesla's fading off of 180, man. It's like, is that the short? Like 181, 180? Tesla's still dancing around these levels. Like I said, you go short there, look, you would have got taken out, just barely. The program's got that up to 181, just for it to fade out again, another $2 to the downside. So I don't know, we're gonna have to wait. A little frustrated here, trying to find some trades in the last couple seconds, but we only have now 30 seconds left. I mean, I might as well just continue to delay this. Let me move this over a little bit so we can all watch as we'll hold this up here and wait to see hey, maybe I can just fit this in right there. We'll see. I'll do a little bit wider here so you guys can see everything. All right, here come these imbalances coming out right now in about 15 seconds. The number that we had was $1 billion to sell. We'll see what comes out after this. And again, it's pretty risky to be in a lot of these names, so we're only in one right now. It's WFC, and it's right here right now. So we're going to wait to see what comes out in just a couple seconds. Credit Suisse up to 220. This probably comes out a bid. All right, here we go. Wow, it's a lot of numbers. This is going to be a big one, whatever it is. Sell side on Amazon. 2.35 million shares. I'm waiting for Brendan to put something billion here. So that's why we say that right now. Apple sell side. There it is, 4.3 billion to sell. So again, back-to-back jacks on the sell side here in the day. So there's Amazon. Look at that move downside, 95.90 down to 96. 95.50, sorry, so that's 50 cents downside. BAC downside, but I don't expect the banks to move. Apple did wick down there. Maybe these are plays, man. It comes out so dramatic. Just buy the dips every time, but it doesn't work every time. There's Google as well with the sell. You're going to see probably a big wick to the downside. See, this name didn't wick down. It's just continuing down. What else? Anything else you guys want to see? There's Schwab. We talked about that today as they found a buyer, apparently, of some of their paper and more deposits on them. Downside, there's WFC. WFC sort of says, hold my beer, I'm not going anywhere. So realistically, the biggest thing to learn from this one would have been that wick down there for Apple. So that's continuing to go down. Amazon's a sell. Rivian, we talked about Ford a little bit. I've been ignoring Ford. I don't know why. Down 2.5% today. So we'll have a look at that tomorrow. Other than that, that's about it. Rivian was below 13, still there today, right at 13. Well, what was a dramatic move down off the highs, but I thought Rivian would be lower than that, breaking its 52-week low today of 13 bucks.
Well, a lot of these ones, I mean, the big names, right? The Amazons, the Apples, and there was something else in there too. There was a big tech name.
Amazon, Apple, Google maybe?
Google's there too. But I'm looking at not just the imbalance itself, it's also the paired volume here. Amazon and Apple have a ton of paired volume, meaning that at some point you add the two totals together. So let's just say for Amazon's sake, it's 4.6 plus 1.7. That's how many shares there were, and they've already offset 4.6. That means that leaves us with 1.7 left. That means if you add the total, that's a lot of shares that they needed to do on this imbalance here at the end. And there's a lot of interest clearly in some of these big tech names. And I wonder how much of this has to do with Friday's expected moves as well. Because these imbalances are starting to get a little bit larger than they typically would be, especially for these big tech names. Apple's there somewhere. It may have fallen off now. There's Apple. 1.2 on the sell side with 5.6 paired. So you're looking at about, what, 6.8 at that point on the sell side for the imbalance. Keep in mind, this is the first release. Now we need the 355 update to tell you whether these are going to stick around or not, or whether they're going to be completely paired off, or even change directions. Meaning, if too many people say it's a sell, we're willing to offset that, then it turns from a sell to a buy if there's more than one, at this point, 1 million shares that are willing to take the offer. So that could happen as well. That does happen more often than not. So we'll see in about 2 minutes or so what happens with those imbalances. But right now, those big names are heading down the list. Mullen, really? MULN is on the buy side?
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's like 15 cents.
Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. Take that back. That's not going to make a difference. Let's see what SEV is. Ooh, that's 51 cents. What is up with these cheap names?
What was it?
SEV.
I mean, even Wish is going to be cheap on there. You
Yeah,
have
okay.
the TLT at least on there, but I don't know what else to deal with. The TLT, of course, but that's not going to move. That's the Treasury fund there. The Treasury, the Barclays
20-year, yeah.
Trust Treasury fund right now. So, all right, let's just keep doing what we're doing right now. WFC, I mean, it's here. It's not doing much, so I don't know what we're going to do with it, but WFC maybe fall back in. I'm just going to put a bid at 60. If that 60 fills, we'll end the day with a great trade on WFC. So that's going to be, very, very pleased with sort of the performance today that we've done on this name, including writing right on our sticky note that we wanted 39. It's the #1 name here on the sticky note. I don't know if you could, it's hard to see, but anyway, it doesn't matter. There it is, WFC 39. You could probably see that. You can go find it on @TraderTV Sean as well for that. So look, we're finishing the day positive, but I'm a little bit upset because we lost on that CS there at the end, Credit Suisse, and then what else did we do? There was one other one. Oh, we gave... the thing on Tesla was just back and forth. I didn't really lose that much, but again, we did start. My initial position on Tesla was a short, and that's why, you go back and forth, you get jiggled out, you get this, you get that, and then at the end of the day, the short prints. But what are you going to do? The futures are a live thing here that it's very, very hard to judge, especially in the last 5 minutes. And here we go. I'm just sort of watching out for this because we just have a couple more minutes left until we do get a flip over here of everything. So let's wait to see. Right now, if you're watching us from anywhere, it's 354, 56, 57, 58. And here we go. All right, so let's see. Tesla, again, little bit of a
very little
dance,
change.
not much happening right there. WFC not doing too much. Did anything change too much on there?
It's just the big names.
Apple
They
went
disappeared.
To a bid.
Yeah.
There's Apple with a buy. So look at that. There's a spike right back there on the flip. So again, 151.60, 152.06. I mean, that could be a program that someone writes, but again, it's already been written. So it's not, it's just like, wait for that. Parse the feed that comes into the imbalance. Try to read it first and then go with it. So if you knew Apple was a sell and it just flipped over to a bid right there, look at the paired. There's a lot of interest on this, man. This is going to be an 8 million share print for Apple coming at the end of the day. So it's only done 61 million. So again, 15% of the day's volume is going to come on the very last print there for Apple with 7.5 million. BAC, forget about it. That's done a lot of volume. So there's that's not going to be 115 million shares on BAC. All right, I'm just going to get out if I can. There it is. We did cancel our trade now as WFC. We just got it out at 71. So that ends that one with a nice little 20-cent win to end the day. And that's it, man. Only a couple minutes left. I hope we have over 1,000 likes. If not, please hit the like button. 1.1K. Thank you so much for supporting the show. We're going to be back tomorrow. Oh, by the way, coffee count. So I have a little bit left. It's like a quarter left. So 2 3/4 coffee today. How many teas?
2.
All right, so our caffeine is in check.
No caffeine. Herbal teas, baby.
Oh, you got the herbal teas? What tea is that? Is it our
chamomile
teas?
Yeah, it's ours.
Have you looked?
Yeah.
Most of our teas will have caffeine.
No, the chamomile does
not.
not.
Good.
That's
Okay.
an herbal tea.
There it is. So,
There's
all right, so
chamomile
no caffeine in chamomile tea. You learn something every day, but green tea, I think, has
before we
decent
go to
amounts.
Brendan, I'm curious. Do you say in the chat, if anyone from Britain's watching this, from the UK is watching this, is it chamomile or is it chamomile? Because I've gotten both sides. I say chamomile, but I don't know. So we'll go to Brendan, come back. I'm looking for comments on what is the correct way on saying that.
All right, guys, probably definitely the most exciting day as far as earnings. We're not in earnings season any longer, but a few notable names on here for tomorrow.
Well, yeah,
Dollar General, Adobe. There you go, Fahad, your favorite dunk system right there, Adobe.
It's funny how most people train to dunk. He just trains on using Adobe.
There you go.
To dunk. So that's a good. Put that back. There it goes. Signet Jewelers there, Dollar General. Williams-Sonoma, the high-end. Ooh, I wonder what Williams-Sonoma is doing these days. Williams-Sonoma, the high-end furniture maker there, probably getting a little hit. Are we entering a recession or not? I mean, it's back and forth. Have we already had one? I mean, all this talk back and forth. Isn't Williams-Sonoma WSM, I believe? Yes, it is. Williams-Sonoma right there on the New York. Let's just check these guys out. What was once a high-flying name, Williams-Sonoma, down today. I don't know if my daily chart's ever going to load up. It doesn't look like it, but down there to 118. So Williams-Sonoma, another name to look out for, and then ADBE. We know that one. That's Adobe right there. 333, nice level there. Tony, I remember, was long this name around 300 off of a missed earnings call, I believe down here somewhere. He got out when it came back up. He got a little nervous about it, but nice move. I think it was this move right down there, 290 or so. Nice move back up for Adobe. Shout out to you, Tony. Hope you're doing well. Okay, now only a minute and a half left right now. A minute and a half left in the day, and we're doing pretty good, man. I mean, we're not at the highest spot, but pretty happy with it. Credit Suisse will end the day here at 215, so not a bad little level there with some size coming through as well. Now, with less than a minute to go, the names are what they are. Good thing we got out of WFC because that's up to 83 right now. And this is what we're looking at as the imbalances. Google still a sell imbalance. I think that's, oops. Yeah, so it's starting to pair off pretty good now. You're going to have a 7 million print on Google as well here in less than 1 minute. Not much else to talk about right here. We're going to review the markets when they come through. There we go. I messaged Katrine. I was like, you got to ring the bell.
Oh.
So Katrine's ringing the bell here. And just because she likes it so much,
Hola, like and subscribe today.
That's right, guys. She's going to be on the bell.
I want her to do the hola.
Hola. You should do the hola wave and then ring the bell. You should.
She's now famous for the hola wave, so.
That's okay. All right, whatever.
Remember, I thought when I first heard it, I thought it was aloha. And I was like some Hawaiian flavor coming through right there right now. Okay, Prad, we're getting ready to rock and roll here with only 15 seconds to go. We'll hit that bell up and then we'll call this a day, which was a pretty good day for sure, depending if you're long or short or flat on the day. There's Katrine. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hola, there it is. All right, thank you, Miss Katrine, for that one. Again, as we wrap up the day with some nice fun. Let's find out. Google, there's the print. Look at that right there, 7.2 million shares for Google coming through. The print for Apple, if I can find it quickly, let me just go over to my board here and click it. It'll come through. There's the, whoops, the print for Apple is, keeps going, disappearing. 9 million shares for a closing print for Apple. So again, about 15% of day's volume done on the close for AAPL. All right. What? The NASDAQ just, I didn't even notice that, went on a huge run there at the end. Wow, that was a big move right there for the NASDAQ. From 12.3 up to 12.4? We just went, what? In the last 5 minutes, we went up 100 points on the NASDAQ, which is absolutely insane.
We've seen that kind of move.
Even yeah, we've seen it before, but in the last 5 minutes, crazy. Probably has to do with the imbalances coming tomorrow and today. Okay, Brennan, it's 4:01. What we got over there?
Volume into the close there, right across the board. Here we go. Look at a green NASDAQ, 0.4 there for the 100. The composite just getting back into positive territory when all is said and done, 0.05 as well. Not so much for the rest, however. Still 2% for the Russell 2000, where a lot of those regional banks are. 0.7, 0.87 there for the S&P and the Dow, guys. Could have been a lot worse.
There's always tomorrow, right?
We're thinking it's going to be worse. Oh, we turned this guy into
We never know. We don't know yet.
Well, the thing is, the ES is that. Okay, we haven't done this enough. Okay. You want the ES or the NASDAQ? Let's ask
Just
NASDAQ.
do NASDAQ.
Will the NASDAQ be positive at close tomorrow?
All right.
Okay, because,
Stop asking and short Intel. What?
Stop asking and short Intel.
Is this like a custom 8-ball or something?
Yes, it is, my friend.
Oh my God.
So you didn't know about that. I was really hoping that it was going to say something about you.
Oh.
I've only seen 4 of it. Shout out to D. Westermeyer in the chat. Thank you so much.
Now I got to see what the rest is here.
No, don't tell me though.
No, I just want to know what other possibilities.
But don't tell me, please.
Okay, yeah.
Because I want to be surprised and react to it live on the show. There's one that says Fahad says yes. So that was one. Do you remember any other ones? Something like if Sean says so or something. There's a few
trying all
ones.
of them now.
Yeah. I don't want to know though. So stay away.
I want to know. Let's
Stay
hear.
away. I just want. I
I
really
thought it was
wanna know-
simple answers. These are not simple answers. They're pretty complex here.
Pretty complex. Okay, this guy's ruining it, but okay, we're not going to look at it. But all right, not bad today. Brendan, you make any trades today, or you're just busy doing other stuff?
Reading headlines all day. What a day. Yeah, more to come tomorrow, guys, obviously.
We always get questions about, because Brendan, we used to do the small cap recap, and Brendan would review it, but maybe we'll get back to that at some. Well, we still does if there's any trades coming through. So, all right, thanks for watching, man. Tomorrow's going to be a great day. We've had CPI, PMI, nothing tomorrow, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, so just got the major rebalances. So a lot of volume early tomorrow and a lot of volume late tomorrow. Anything you like in there?
There's a lot of people's names in here.
Did you see one for you?
No, not yet. But I did see Prad's. I did see Fahad's.
Prad's name is in there?
Oh,
What's,
yeah.
What's the Prad one
probably
say?
something to do with Free Fall
yeah.
Friday or something.
You guys got to find out when you guys get to
See,
it.
now, why did you have to do that? Okay, so by the way, I'm going to put in our chat for everyone here. I'm going to hopefully get Katrine to sign up for a bracket. Hopefully, Sadman Pratt over there will do it at some point as well. No, he's saying no. No fun, no fun, as we'll go. Well, then I will not promote your Twitch stream anymore, Prad, as we go. But here we go, wrap it up. Join us, find me on Twitter if you want to join it. Winner comes on the show. If you're in Toronto, you can sit right here. If not, we'll have you on a Zoom call, and I will send you some merchandise as well. It's March Madness, baby. Let's grow the family and grow everything. For everybody here at Trader TV Live, that's Arun, Brendan, I'm Sean, Prad, and Fahad. Give a wave over there. They're over there in the darkness as we go. And a big shout out, of course, to Luca. There they are. There. Yeah. We're going to be shout out to Luca and Sharif as well, and to Bears vs. Bulls. Thank you to everybody. But it's 4:04. We got some work to do around here, so enjoy your evening. We're back tomorrow, Arun. Wait a minute. Tomorrow's Thursday.
Yep.
The imbalances aren't tomorrow.
No.
The rebalances. I'm thinking tomorrow's Friday. We will get big imbalances though. That's back-to-back $4 billion at close. We'll see everybody tomorrow, Thursday. Ciao.